Do you play PUBG Mobile? Maybe you never run out of stamina. Maybe you're always aware of your surroundings. Maybe you're an amazing cook with the pan. Maybe you're a great driver. But as soon as you hear the sound of an airplane, you get into the zone. In PUBG Mobile, you all come from different walks in life. But you face the same dangers on the battleground. And you become friends. You work together to overcome the obstacles. This is PUBG Mobile. There's a number one in all of us. Welcome to the PUBG Mobile first anniversary party. PUBG Mobile, be the one.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the PUBG Mobile Club Open semifinal stage for the North American region. We're on day 2. Day 1 was certainly excellent, but we have more PUBG action to be played out today with groups A and C.
Yeah, Group C is entering the fall. They took a little bit of a rest. They went with us with day 1, but that means that they have a little bit of an extra scouting report, some might say, figuring out what half of the people in this lobby are going to be doing, but the rest could be unknowns because, like we mentioned, from group stage to semifinals, we have reseeded the groups, so there might be a little bit of unfamiliarity for the members of Group C, while they can finally gauge up who they're going to be sharing their semifinal playtime with.
Yeah, there certainly might be a little bit of uncertainty, but some things that at least Group C could be certain of, some of the teams in Group A, well, Spacestation Gaming is a powerhouse. Trid, I was looking at maybe some of the scores that we were looking at. They have twice the points, essentially, of the second place team coming out of Group A. It's a little bit scary. And
they're not even the best team in the leaderboard right now. That's occupied by 2 different teams in Group B, and it's no surprise to anyone. Misfits Gaming. They're on top yet again, just a very consistent day 1. But I think we should have a look at those standings just to remind you what's going on across the day. So these are all the teams in Group C because they haven't played yet, as you can see, 0 matches. And let's look up a little bit further and see who they're going to be chasing. So there's some in Group B, some in Group A here. We've got the likes of Nova occupying that 9th place seed. We expect a little bit better from them, but there are plenty more days for them to play.
Yeah, that there are. At least 2 more days for that Nova squad over the course of 2 weeks. And at the end of those 2 weeks, well, we're going to be dropping another 8 teams, leaving us with 16 to go on to the regional finals to compete. But again, look at the top 8 of your leaderboard. You can sort of see what some of the teams from groups A and B were able to put up in terms of points on yesterday's games. Keep in mind though, Spacestation Gaming will be playing again tonight. They are currently sitting in 3rd on the global leaderboards.
Yeah, they're easily going to take over some higher positions. They're only 1 point behind Lights Out right now. They're not playing today, so they have to sit back and watch. Let's take a look at today's schedule to see what's coming up for you. No surprise here if you're looking down to the latter end of the show. It's a double dose of Erangel, but before we get to that stage, we've got Vikendi coming up first, and the return of Miramar.
Yeah, that is the surprise. Miramar, the desert map, is coming back into rotation. We're going to see it 2 more days over the course of the next 2 weeks, so get ready. It's going to be at least a little bit heated, more heated than normal in match number 6 of the day. But Trid, if there's anything that yesterday told us, it's that the action has ramped up. The skill required to advance through this stage of the PUBG Mobile Club Open is going to be a little bit more advanced. Teams are going to have to really be diligent in their rotations and when they pick the battles and when they disengage as well.
Well, one thing teams can be breathing a sigh of relief of, no misfits today for them, so teams like Nova, who typically rival them, can look to position themselves into that top 8. Of course, they're going to be playing today as well against some less familiar competition. I'll keep going back to that point. They're going to figure each other out over this next day. But of course, it's Vikendi to kick things off. We're going over the skies already. Please join us as we go through the magical world of PUBG Mobile.
And here we are coming out of the northwest corner of Vikendi, just a little bit north of Dobro Mestro, but essentially cutting this frozen tundra of an island. in half. Not going to be terrible for any of the teams that want to spread out to those polarized positions. Trevno certainly going to be in reach. And Milner, we've seen Trid, I think, of quite a bit of number of teams going for those far southern regions. Some teams that stand out to me are certainly going to be in this lobby here tonight.
Well, we have seen typically on Vikendi, though, ultimately, just generally, we've been seeing in our PUBG Mobile matches, the circles are always going to the east, and teams aren't always picking up on that trend. They like to start from the west and make their rotation over. Most of the teams in this particular, well, in our particular matchup we had on Vikendi beforehand, occupy this western half of the map. They do go as far down as Milner to occupy that territory, like you said, Esquire, but a lot of teams will often find themselves making a northeastern sweep, and that'll be determined by the circle, and bless us all, I have cursed the entire lobby. Northwest seems to be where the circle's going to kick things off.
A few shots already coming out. You hear but not seeing any connections just yet. But certainly this phase will be problematic for a few teams, as Revenants and Tempo Storm, they're going to be engaged in an early conflict. Vigilante going to be taken down early on. Nicoletta, you can see in the top of your screen, taking a significant amount of damage as well. And this is really nothing strange here for Tempo Storm. Granted, I think they hate to be in this situation. These early game conflicts can spell disaster if your team is trying to continue on with 4 live, but Tempo's used to this. They always are facing off against these early game engagements.
You got Vigilante back into the game. You got Nicoletta in the roster, who's joined Revenant since the start of the semi-finals, and not been too bad so far. Let's see how they progress as we go further on this. Looking around the map, Hot Springs occupied by some of the members of Pittsburgh Knights, as well as Spacestation Gaming. But they're on a 2-2 split. They haven't got a full strength squad, so that can be very dangerous for them if they're not too careful. Lost and Chica, they're getting awfully close to Nicoletta, and you can see Nico and Spec coming in to try and find him. Nicoletta's been found out. There's the spray down with a micro Uzi. Tries to get out the window, and that's the first flush of the game coming in for Tempo Storm.
You know, you saw that coming. You were a little bit fearful for Nicoletta in that position. There wasn't an easy rotation out of that building to reunite with the other 3 members of Revenants now on that southern side of this town. Creatus is an interesting position. Not a lot of teams very familiar with this, but in previous weeks throughout the Club Open, we have seen Tempo Storm come here, and they've faced off against other teams as well. So no strangers to at least this type of scenario. Their playbook is fully prepared for what they're faced off against with the Revenants.
Just to go back to that Pittsburgh Knights engagement, Jagger was actually by himself in Hot Springs, so that 3-1 split has just resulted in him going out of the game incredibly early. Spacestation Gaming just being gifted a kill pretty much, and it puts Pittsburgh Knights, who are currently occupying the Cosmodrome, into a 3-man situation from the off.
So what we're looking to see here, at least in the early stages of Vikendi, teams going dead center. We've talked about it multiple times, at least unique with Vikendi. Those first few phases are not going to be drastic shifts. Even if they are hard shifts, they are still going to include about 80 to 90% of the previous phase. That all changes as we hit phases 3, 4, and 5. But a lot of teams really playing off that center strategy, especially when you come over here to the frozen map. HQA trying to have a big night tonight. But we haven't really been seeing a lot of consistent play coming out of the members of this squad. That certainly they've been present in these kill feeds. They've been able to at least make it into the semifinals. But Trid, we have to see teams starting to separate themselves, the wheat from the chaff, as some might say.
What surprised me most about HQA in the group stage in particular was they did finish in 21st place overall, so close to being relegated, truth be told. But they had an extremely high amount of kills for the position they were in. They had 32 kills. And it doesn't sound like a lot, but if you compare that with some of the other teams that were in that general vicinity in the standings, it's quite high. They have one of the highest distributions of kill to standings points out of any team in our top 24 when you look at all the points they've accrued. So they may not be good at surviving, but they're certainly good at killing, Phil.
Yeah, but unfortunately here in this tournament, you have to be good at surviving. Surviving is the priority. Kills are the secondary objective. And while some teams, just like HQA, they're feeling right. I mean, they're able to get the kills, but they need to at least more carefully pick those battles and go for placements. Wildcard over here on the frozen river just south of Podvosto, going to be looting up a short rotation up to the northwest for this squad. But again, a squad that we are looking to see big things out of. Trid, we saw them make huge strides throughout the group stages, and we're looking for the exact type of performance, or possibly even better, coming out of the wildcard members.
Well, they got that 3rd place spot, and they would have got the 1st place in their group if it wasn't for the existence of Misfits Gaming. So you got to feel for wildcard. They were beaten out by a team just by not a large amount. It's just unfortunate they were grouped with them. As Ignite Gold and BlindedByWin just staring each other from across the road. Who's going to play chicken first and end up going straight to the abattoir?
BlindedByWin, I feel like this is another team that's hyper-aggressive. You see them in the kill feed a lot, but haven't been able to secure those placement points. And again, in a situation where they need to start weighing the risk-reward of these early game fights. Ignite Gold, though, all four very close to one another, holding on in the second story of this building. And you can see all of the players for Ignite Gold, at least the three in that building, are in the prone position, utilizing that third-person perspective to try to catch out some of the members of BlindedByWin.
No one's exposing themselves just yet. They are entirely aware of what's going on. You can just tell by how they're setting themselves up here, trying to fan out as wide as they can, take up on different angles, and make sure that if anyone does move, like you said, get that information or potentially act on the information with a couple of shots. But I'm sure BlindedByWin have the exact same idea. As you can see, Arx has taken this very long sweeping path to get away from the main cluster of units to provide a crossfire against Ignite Gold should they aggress upon BlindedByWin.
Yeah, this is pretty much a situation where both teams are saying, hey, move, and the other's like, no, you move. Well, they're going to be at a standstill here, and you have to at least begin to question. They are inside of the circle, yes, but they're a little bit off-center, so it might be that we see other teams crash in here given its location inside of the circle, and well, with these two teams across the road from one another, one could find themselves in a pinch position, wishing they would have rotated much earlier. Back over here, though, to the Hot Springs area, Spacestation Gaming continues to loot up, trying to keep that ball of momentum rolling that they were able to at least kick in day number 1 yesterday.
As it gets further and further the mountain, we get closer to the end of our semifinals, and got to be thinking top 16. All you need to go to the regional finals. That's our next stage of the competition, and that's what's going to be decided by the end of Sunday's broadcast next week. So we're already a third of the way through this stage of the competition, Phil. So points really need to start to be accumulated today.
I think maybe 2 or 3 of our teams might be feeling very comfortable in the fact that they likely will be moving on based off of their performance just on day number 1. But if there's anything, at least these past few weeks have shown us, you have to utilize these games. When you feel secure in your placement, you have to utilize these games essentially as scrims to try to get the best practices possible, because only 2 teams can move on from those regional finals to represent North America and the global finals, where you'll have an opportunity to fight for $2.5 million prize pool. And that's what everyone wants. It's a long road to get there, but a road that everyone has dedicated a lot of time and a lot of effort to work their way towards.
Wildcard is awfully close to Nova here, as they've just taken that path to try to get central location in the next circle. And Nova spotted them, took a few shots, but nothing conclusive, no connections really coming in here. So it's going to put them on edge and maybe force them to look Nova's direction, but beyond that, no real change to the state of the game.
Blue Zone, at least working its way in now towards phase number 1. Going to be a few minutes before we see the shift to phase number 2. And again, keep in mind, that shift, it's still a little bit less than a shift. We need another word for these Vikendi phase transitions.
It's a nudge.
It's a nudge, yes. It's going to be nudged somewhere. Wildcard, though, has been spotted out. The members of Nova, specifically Beowulf, with the G36C, finds at least a few connections with those 5.56 rounds on top of Wildcard's Ranger.
Nova and the rest of, well, Beowulf and the rest of Nova got to be feeling good today. They've already qualified for the finals of the ESL Mobile Open, which is happening in DreamHack Dallas in a couple of weeks. So they're riding a good high from some victories earlier in the day. So morale's going to be good for these guys coming into this stage of the competition. So they've already started to take a few shots at Wildcard, who are a team who has leaped over them in the standings at the beginning of this semi-final so far. So if they can get a knock onto them, find out that's Wildcard Gaming, there could be some grudges that need to be settled.
And that's sort of another thing, Trid, that I'm going to be looking for in these teams. These have been long days, long weeks for a lot of these squads competing here in the Club Open. So you have to wonder, how much wear and tear mentally are these teams going through? Are they able to keep their spirits high? Are they able to keep their minds focused? Because again, this is not a path. This is a long road for these teams to try to work their way through. BlindedByWin disengaging off of that previous compound that we saw them lined up with the members of Ignite Gold, but out of one compound and into the fray they go as they start to line up across another road from the members of Version 2 White.
Bad player just had to heal up. Certainly took some damage from BlindedByWin in a previous engagement, but BlindedByWin now conscious. They're splitting themselves between 2 different squads right now. You still got Ignite Gold holding down that line of attrition. It's just being challenged by Version 2 White to the north. We're just seeing the last of our squads make it into that phase 1 circle. Lations Unidos and Shoot to Win. Spacestation Gaming being the last ones to get in there, but you can see it on your screen perfectly now. 3 squads having a bit of a stare down here. I'm not sure if Ignite Gold are aware that Version 2 White are in the area as well. You can see how BlindedByWin is starting to path around this area to try and adapt to the fact that there's now another squad from a different angle approaching.
And this is what I was talking about a few minutes ago. These teams, BlindedByWin and Ignite Gold, they had to be hyper aware. But we pop over to Spacestation Gaming. Keep in mind, at the onset of this game, they dropped to the far southeastern corner of Vikendi, way outside of the zone. But Sixless and the rest of the crew have now made their way in off the far northeastern corner, just off of the Cosmodrome entrance. This is going to be a good rotation for them, a safe rotation, but a long rotation as they stop here just on the edge of the circle. Continuing on, if they choose to, they'll likely be running into the teams that we were just looking at, BlindedByWin, version 2 White, and Ignite Gold.
Just taking their time for now. I think they want to reassess the situation after the next phase pops, just so they know definitely where they're going to have to move to, because they must be aware they're one of the later teams to get into this next circle, so they can't go crashing into compounds, because more than likely they will be occupied by most people at this time. BlindedByWin, if they've changed up this engagement altogether, they left Manny to keep an eye on Ignite Gold's general direction, but they're putting more of a focus onto version 2 White here, spreading out all their pawns across this particular line's checkboard, on the top of that high ground to keep an eye on version 2 White. Next phase is popped, and like we said, it's not really a shift, it's more of a nudge, forcing them further to the north, but most of our teams unaffected by this change of phase.
Yeah, only 2 teams have to make that move. Shoot to win down to the south, and Lations Unidos as well. But everyone's going to be clumped closer and closer together by virtue of these small nudges of the phases in these first 3 phases of the Vikendi maps. Well, it's going to keep a lot of teams alive. No one's going to be having to move, where we see a lot of the action take place in these transitionary phases for these squads, and that's going to be creating a bit of a chaotic environment as these teams get closer and closer together in the mid to late game. But version 2 White, Bad Player, Mega, the rest of the squad continuing to hold on to this northern coast just off of the position where they were previously taking shots by the members of BlindedByWin. Trey, do you want to see this team maybe play this a little bit more dominantly here in this position, not hang back on the coastal line like they are currently doing?
Well, HQA made a lot of noise coming into this area now. They've alerted Tempo Storm, who have immediately changed all their sightlines over to face them and meet them. You can see off in the distance even further, I believe you've got Wildcard still, so HQA not put themselves in the best of positions. They may have just sandwiched themselves between 2 of the teams. Wi-Fi have taken the long swim to go and get that package out on the supply crate. Be curious to see what he's picked up for his reward. It looks like he's picked up a ghillie suit, you just see him from the silhouette there, so immediately going to add to the stealth factor of this player.
See an M249 light machine gun on the back as well. Good pickup at level 3 armor kit to boot. It's worth the swim. It certainly took a little bit of time to get there, but it pays off in spades as to what types of engagements the members of Pittsburgh Knights are going to be able to take come mid to late game. A few extra risky peaks coming out from Wi-Fi is likely what we're going to be seeing as Wildcard continues to hold on to this compound. One of the trash looting compounds, and I say trash loot, but it is actually a very good compound to land in. Usually you see teams split up in solo player type groupings to loot up this area of the map, but they've all reunited a 4-stack squad for the members of Wildcard, with Team Anarchy just off to the distance on top of the hill.
And this might be another one of those stalemates unless the circle forces the hands of someone else. But now having a look at Lations Unidos, as they're just still occupying the furthest southwest point. I think they're furthest away from center out of any team in this next circle. And they're just patrolling around this building. Not much more to be said about these guys for now. They are one of the lower place teams. In fact, this team got in the 24th seed. So you would say on paper they're the worst team in our semifinals right now, but I'm sure they're looking to prove us otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, we did start this tournament off with the top 32 teams in North America. Certainly everyone is worth their stuff have they made it this far inside of the tournament. But again, you can't take anything away from what Lations Unidos are doing in that position. They were late to enter into phase number 2, and knowing full well that the next phase isn't going to be a drastic shift. It's not going to put a lot of space between them should they have to rotate. Well, riding the edge isn't necessarily a risky endeavor. They're going to be able to stay alive, don't have to cross through that densely packed centralized area.
Shoot to Win have just been gifted a double care package pretty much. They're the only ones in the area, and they've just looted one, and another one's about to drop on top of their heads. They're sticking around in that location because of that fact, but they're looking pretty good from the loot game right now, just because bless RNG, I guess, on that one, getting a double drop.
Saying thank you, PUBG Mobile gods, for that drop. Shoot to Win looking pretty good, at least in terms of the short rotation they have to make to get into phase number 3. Again, still shifting further and further away from our teams in the south. The rotations will continue to have to come out, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Lations Unidos, Shoot to Win, AreYouScared, and Cream continue to hold on to that southern edge play. They know full well what's lying in wait inside of the centralized area of the circle, and Will, you at home could see it right there. Here is a nice little airdrop for them to be picking up. That's a good takeaway.
And that's another one. There's actually another care package dropping on top of them now, 3 in a row. Is that the flare gun, maybe? I don't think that's activated in Vikendi, is it?
Shouldn't be. But Lopez and the team, Psycho, will pick it up nonetheless. They're happy to receive it wherever they get it. But again, teams are going to have to start worrying about the impending conflicts that are inevitable at this stage in the game. Teams don't have a lot of room to work off of. And well, these rotations are about to be deadly. Cars will be exploding left and right. Teams will be trying to maneuver for a bit more favorable of a position. But will they be able to get it? That is the looming question right now.
Teams looking to get into that circle, like we've already mentioned. Down on the southern border, Cream Esports, AreYouScared, and Lations Unidos very close to each other. And looking on your screens right now, HQA, Pittsburgh Knights, for Hokage, and Tempo all on your screens. That just shows you the proximity of them. They're over further to the west of that circle for the time being. Now, next phase that pops might force the hands. Because so far, like I said, they generally be nudges. We've only seen 2 kills so far. One was an unfortunate 3-1 split from Pittsburgh Knights. The other was just an ill-advised engagement from Revenants.
And I would actually like to see some of these teams continue to play the edge. Again, placement is so important in these stages, and so is chasing points early on in these stages, or rather these games of the semifinal tournament for North America. And so, again, playing passively, certainly some teams say, you know, hey, you guys played so passively, you got to play more aggressively. No, you got to play to your strong suits, especially given the point system that is presented.
Okay, yeah, we'll play aggressively and get 10 points, but go out in 16th, but right? I'll play passive. And I'll get 30 points.
HQA.
Yeah, HQA. Okay, I'll play passive and get 30 points instead by getting first place, and with only 1 kill. Like, that's the RNG scenario. That's the best scenario here. You only have to pop 1 player remaining, but
exactly.
Play for placement on this one. 30 points for first place. It can't be ignored.
And I think some teams that aren't used to this playstyle are starting to adjust to that. You're seeing more and more teams stay alive, regardless of what map we're on. Even on Sanhok, teams aren't willing to take those full-on engagements. They might get pot-shotted at, but they disengage almost entirely. And it's good to see those adaptations. That's what you expect out of the strongest teams from this region.
It's the phase circle just moving in right now. The blue going to collapse against that one, and we'll get an idea of where everyone has to move to. Looking at the land territory available, let's say it's about 60% of this circle we're currently in is land, so 40% of it's unusable just because it's ocean. Now, if it keeps shifting up north, it becomes even worse because we're still occupying that water area and that unplayable territory. So hopefully we shift over there and force the hands of a couple of these players.
I was waiting for it. I was waiting for the Trid call as to where that circle's going to go to be the deadliest circle possible, and I'm all with it. I know you guys at home are as well, as long as your favorite squad does not negatively get impacted by it. But that shift is about to come out. AreYouScared might have to continue with that movement from the southern area of phase number 3. And there's the shift. It's not going to be a hard shift at all, pretty much dead center off of our previous circle's central point. But our edge teams have to continue to move. They get closer and closer and closer to the area that they've tried so desperately so far here in game number 1 to avoid.
So, Shoot to Win may have to go past Pittsburgh Knights here. They're looted up, and Pittsburgh Knights are playing with 3 right now, so it's not the worst fight to take for them. Lations Unidos, you can already see those guys mounted up and going for the rotation. Cream sweeping around to the east to try and find a less congested area, but they might scrape past Nova by doing this, and that could open them up and expose them to some gunfire that they may not be prepared for.
Yeah, they could possibly utilize the hillsides of the coal mine, and again, that would have to be a 200 IQ play. They have no idea right now in terms of the information they've been able to pick up what is lying in wait. But HQA is certainly up on top of these roofs, trying to use these elevated positions to spot out some of their enemies, as Zyphon and the rest of the crew, well, they're going to be picking up some loot.
Going to be grabbing more loot, but Cream Esports, they're conclusively playing edge right now. They only mounted up and then stopped immediately as soon as they got into territory. So they're playing edge a little bit longer than you thought they would be. But HQA keeping an eye on Team Anarchy in the distance.
Nova up here, up on the top of the hill, continuing to look out over the members of Cream Esports. Too much blocking their lines of sight, a lot of trees and a lot of distance, certainly to cover for those shots as Beowulf begins to push out. Not too aggressively, just trying to get some information, immediately pulling back to the walls of the compound, that hard cover. But AreYouScared is making the rotation up towards the north. They've entered into the southern side of this phase, but they are dangerously nearby to the members of team number 18. That's none other than Lations Unidos, who again, they've been playing this edge game as well. And will you expect all of these teams, if they continue to play edge, they're going to collide one way or another.
Pittsburgh Knights have opened up to shoot to win though, so they've traded a knock each on that front so far. You can see Psycho on the other side of 7. Rafa and Martin looking to come in for reinforcements here. Monarch just trying to keep 7 alive. He's going to press forward against the wall. He might be able to third-person peek, but instead he's going for the res to get his teammate back in this one as the smoke comes down and shoot to win. Don't know where to aim.
Shoot to Win picked up a lot of level 3 armor from those crates as well. This is a little bit favored towards this squad, but again, you're already seeing them start to take casualties. Martin going to be dropped down to about 20% HP, trying to recover as Psycho continues to bleed out on this wall side. Rafa just trying to do whatever he can to push up and get a better advantage on top of the Pittsburgh Knights, but he's not able to do it just yet.
And Tempo lost, getting very close to another squad. If he's not too careful, he might expose himself here. You can see on the side, shoot to win. Lopez, solo player, going to get knocked down here. Spec coming in from behind. He's going to get pincered regardless of what he did. Nice flush coming in there for Tempo, the second kill of the game.
Nice flush, good awareness. Exactly what you would expect out of this Tempo Storm squad, who has continuously proved that they are one of the dominant forces in these 24 remaining teams. But Shoot to Win is still in a tough position to work their way out of. Martin taking a lot of damage, able to get the first aid off. His teammate taking a lot of damage as well, but not able to med up. And they have to worry about this far southern hard shift that we are now facing off against here in this phase. Rotations from the north are going to be coming out, and while the south is getting hyper crowded.
I'm actually really impressed by Pittsburgh Knights here. Shoot to Win have a lot of good loot on their hands, and they are a full-man squad going up against 3. They've been able to deflect this attack, but looking in here, IGN, they just found Team Anarchy, going to get the spray down flush already, trying to recover. There's only one member of them stood alive to pull the rest of them out. As he runs in, gets the knock onto Killer, but there's more members of Team Anarchy coming in to try and contest this one. Has to start getting the reses in nice and early on this one.
Anarchy knows exactly what they have down to this squad, and here comes the aggressive push, exactly what you want to see. Don't give them any opportunity to pick up the reses, and out goes our first team of the game. It's going to be none other than Ignite Gold in 16th position.
Team Anarchy picking up 4 kills for himself. Nice start from them as well. They should be able to walk away with 4 additional points. Interesting camera angle as they're in the vehicles and driving around. Going to crash into that slight little fence there as Karma's taking on a lot of fire onto Mateus from Lations Unidos. Wi-Fi popping the smoke. So they've disengaged off of Shoot to Win and managed to get themselves into a good position here to try and set up for the next circle.
Trent, I want to expand on something that you brought up right after this firefight erupts here. Cream Esports going to be swarming on to some of the members of Lations Unidos. Out goes Revo, flushed out of the game, but other members of Lations Unidos have survived. One in particular down to the south, not going to be able to reach up to Clonus to pick up that res just yet. Likely going to be a flush as Cheto aggresses up towards the warehouse where Clonus is bleeding out. But Trent, I want to go back to this point that you made. Pittsburgh Knights, yes, they have had difficulties here in this tournament, but overall in the PUBG Mobile scene, they're a team that people expect big things out of. So make no mistake, Pittsburgh Knights might have faltered in weeks 1 and 2 of the group stages, but they're here in the semifinals to make a big name and redeem themselves.
HQA, a very scrappy team, just holding an angle on the wall here. Mega tanking the blue, trying to take a fight with them. Going to be sprayed down, unfortunately, and the blue working against them as well. So Mega dropping down for version 2 white. And HQA going to get the recovery in, but Yefei's been knocked down by the area. They're taking a lot of fire from another angle. It's Tempo Nico taking the fight against them, and there's the entire squad wipe coming in. HQA taken out by Tempo.
And unfortunately, I mean, HQA, again, playing very aggressively, picking up some kills along the way, but completely revealed their position, completely revealed their hand to the members of Tempo Storm, who came in and capitalized on it and will essentially rain on their parade. As they continue on, though, that's going to be 5 kills for the members of Tempo Storm here in the mid-game. Certainly more kills lie in wait should the members of Tempo Storm find them. Wildcard looks like they're getting gifted a nice little crate as well, as Tempo tries to recover off of that engagement we just saw, picking up a nice loot infusion before they depart.
So Anarchy were able to recover after that engagement with Ignite Gold, but now they're fighting with BlindedByWin in that northeast section. BlindedByWin have taken 2 casualties. They're just trying to disengage off of this one. Team Anarchy are going to be able to hold down that position. Wildcard started opening up on to Spacestation Gaming, though, as Rain's going for a flank on this squad. He's got the rear position to pincer them in. They've already lost Carnage. And but it's going to be Ranger going up forward aggressively. Juicy's dealt with him handily as he goes for the knock, and then Juicy's going to be knocked down by Vigilante, who's third-partying this fight for Revenants. Sixers has just been dismantled here. Spacestation Gaming are crumbling from a full offensive from multiple teams here, and he's just got to hope that maybe they can stay in this one, but they've been cleaned out by multiple squads.
Yeah, Wildcard has to make the tough decision. Do we try to push out to Ranger? We know that there are other teams that are going to be looking in our direction, so we try to push out just 10 meters to get to our fallen comrade. Illusions, you can see him inside of this clock tower. He's thinking about it. He's trying to make the push, and there it is, running across a desperate move to make, but it is going to be successful, at least for the time being, as this engagement turned into a bit of a standstill. Smoke's coming out from Zeus, trying to at least get as much concealment out onto the battlefield as possible to provide safe movement for his teammates.
Committing a lot of resources to get their player back in the game, but trust me, it is worth it to go into the final phase with a full squad. Tempo, lighten up the kill feed again, shoot to win are their targets as Rain laying down some suppressive fire. The revenge of BlindedByWin comes in as they're getting a knock onto Team Anarchy in that northeast region. Buying them enough time to successfully disengage and try and get a beeline on this circle. Rain still dancing around as Nova taking engagement with AreYouScared, occupying that southern area. AreYouScared also in the area of Pittsburgh Knights as well. There's a lot of teams to contest with in that southwest corner.
10 teams remaining, 32 players alive, just past the 25-minute mark of game number 5 of the semifinals, rather. Cream still in this compound, haven't had to move. Wildcard, keep in mind, they're in this exact same compound that they've been in the entirety of this game. The circle has shrunk around them, and other teams are going to be trying to get in whatever way they can. Well, Team Anarchy doing just that. The solo player left for this squad, trying to combat the blue zone damage that is becoming more and more significant as time passes. Not going to be enough. The first aid doesn't go off, and Team Anarchy goes down in 10th place.
So that was a massive problem that was caused by BlindedByWin. By knocking Micro TT out in the blue, he died to the blue zone, but I think Team Anarchy tried to get him back in the game, so they cost too much of their HP trying to get it. But Sam's taking a few shots on the TJ Tattoo. Babel's actually been knocked down, so this is not the time to be taking an engagement. It's the time to be suppressing. TJ Tattoo going to be healed up quite nicely in that area. Babel's back in the game, though, for importantly enough for Nova.
Phase number 7 has popped, and some of our teams down to the south have to make their way up towards the north. And it's not going to be easy. Specifically, Pittsburgh Knights are going to have to work through different obstacles, one being the members of AreYouScared. Still 4 strong. About 20 meters separates these two teams, and they stand right in the way of the Knights. But Nova continues to look out here. They're going to be continuing to spot out the members of Cream Esports now approaching the hill as Beowulf gets knocked down.
Knocked down again, but he's back in the game. There's enough safety right now for this Nova squad to be able to res a downed member, assuming they don't get aggressed upon by Cream, who are lining up the area with smokes. Molly's going over the top right now, or primed to be going in there. Just a force to hand the Cream. Hitting the back of those vehicles there. Karma, the one to be affected, has to step away from that immediate cover. You got Kira going on a flank to the right. He's playing a little bit closer, hoping that Nova steps forward too far into a trap.
More and more teams now starting to move in, not just from the south, but also the northeast. Is Pittsburgh Knights. We talked about how hard this transition was going to be for them, and it's going to be even more difficult as they are now dropping members, but they're trading back. AreYouScared? Going to be losing TJ Tattoo and Shiyu in the process. Another goes down. Cow. It's going to be just Mighty, who's trying to stick the res in the top part of this barn, but Wi-Fi aggresses. He uses this opportunity. The grenade's going to be prepped.
We get an explosion there. Not going to see the knock opening up with the LMG, but they have to move forward. Grenade goes in, and there's 7 on the aggression, going up the stairs, but he's been knocked himself. Mighty's turning it around. Wi-Fi's going to commit himself to this as well. With the spray down to the LMG, will get the knock. But now he's coming in from the rear. Mighty looking at it, tanking blue. Pittsburgh Knights going to be taken out here. They bit off more than they can chew going up against AreYouScared, who are not out of the woods yet.
Yeah, they had to do something there, though. That was basically what Pittsburgh Knights had to do. And now it goes AreYouScared. They're spotted by the members of Nova across the road. Wide open territory, easy shots. And out they go in 8th position. 7 teams remaining. Nova still has 4 up. And will a lot of battles are about to pop off as Wildcard starts to take casualties. Rain going to be knocked down, bleeding out across the road. Many of the teams have sucked shelter inside of this building, inside of these compounds. You can see every team essentially has their name branded on one of these buildings.
And BlindedByWin, they're unfortunate enough to be living in the Bronze Age still. They can only shelter behind a rock, unable to have any property for themselves. Arx and Hector carrying for their life. And you can see Kira and Karma on that southwest side as well. They're looking to get into the circle as well. But like you said, Phil, Nova and a lot of these major teams are occupying prime real estate in the center of this circle and should be able to abuse that for the next phase.
Yeah, but when does it become at least a bad position for these teams when they ultimately have to move out? If not now, maybe in phase number 9 when the ultimate circle collapse, the ultimate phase of the game kicks off. Cream still able to keep 4 alive just on the hillside opposite of where Nova continues to look out. Pressure being applied. Their US has been destroyed, but the members of Cream, well, they're trying to make strides towards possibly one of their best games here of the PUBG Mobile Club Open.
Grenade being primed up by Sam. Going for the launch over the top. Another one being followed up as well. Spray coming in afterwards. No connection on that one. More smoke's coming out. Look how smoky that barn is that Wildcard's got here. Espinosa taking some damage from Illusions. That was a clear angle for him to take that shot through. So going to close ranks here on Revenants. Tanker wrapping around the side here, trying to get a favorable position. Go for the rush onto Illusions. Look at the knock. The rest of Revenants run in as well. A Wildcard in a position to deflect this attack. I'm not so sure, but the smokes are coming out. Grain's in there as well. Illusions, I believe he has been flushed out of the fight now. So 3 members on the squad as Nico finds Sunade, the last remaining member from 4 Hokage, takes them out of the squad. Kira's now going to get knocked by Nova, and the flush comes in as well. So dealing with that engagement on that front as Ranger will hold down the line. Zeus and the rest of Wildcard trying to lock down this building in particular.
Well, they are locking it down. Revenants are taking casualty after casualty to the members of Wildcard, but everyone is making moves. Cream trying to inch their way in off the edge of the circle.
Disastrous.
Going to be completely spotted out. The G36C spells disaster for the members of Cream Esports. Kato picks up knock after knock after knock as the team secures 2 kills, but they have to be ever so diligent of every other squad here in this compound tempo, lighting it up from the western side of this circle, trying to at least put as much pressure onto the members of Nova as possible.
That's big that Sam got knocked in. He's actually sitting just inside of the blue now. Munoz holding down that lower 4 position of Nova. Could play spoiler as they retreat out of this house to try and save their comrade. As Lost keeps an eye on this window. Koto needs to be very careful not to show himself here as Sam looking to climb into the building. Gonna go for the resurrection. The smoke grenade comes out, I believe, just to cover off some of the lines of sight. You got Lost up here with Nico just behind this rock, applying pressure to Nova.
This is the final phase of the game, phase number 9. It will collapse on itself. It could come down to a med battle. Teams trying to get that centralized position, and I think that Beowulf is likely the most centralized player on the map right now for Nova, but can they hold off? Can they find the damage onto any other player trying to escape that deadly blue zone damage that's about to be on their back here in just 1 second? Here's the collapse.
And we also need to keep an eye on the resources all of these teams have. The health packs, they're not going to be able to go in there. Lost only has 2. They're not going to be able to go for the heal. They're just tanking so much of this blue as they're trying to move into the area safely, but they're going to open it up onto Ranger. He's drawn the attention of Nova, and they're just running into the firing lines. The Sam's going to deal with it quite handily. That's Tempo getting knocked out. Munoz has sacked away a 3rd place spot, but now he's dealing with the pressure as well. Nova still opening up onto Wildcard. There's only 2 squads remaining. Rain is tanking the blue, going in there, hasn't got the resources to stay alive. And that's going to be Nova walking away with their first map win of the day. And Sam, look at that, 9 kills to his name, bumping the Nova total up to 10.
Sam says, I am a champion. You certainly are, Sam. Great game, but overall, it's a team game. Great job to Nova. Wildcard holding on to that compound throughout the entirety of the game, find themselves in 2nd position with 7 kills. And then again, Cream. Trid, we got to talk about it. Cream having one of their best performances so far, not just at the semifinals, not just at the group stages, everything in total. So big ups to them. They obviously put in some work over the last week to really fine-tune that strategy.
And we spoke about it as well, Phil. It's not always about getting the kills. The placement was snuck out there by Munoz, who was just occupying that ground floor territory below Nova. They have more pressing issues than to go downstairs and try and contest this. They wanted to hold that high ground. I'm surprised he wasn't caught out when they rotated outside to pick up their downed player. But thankfully, he was able to sneak out a win there and just let the other teams go in and get themselves killed. Yeah. It's going to be Cream Esports picking up the 3rd place finish. We're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we're going to bring you Miramar.
welcome back everyone to day number 2 of the semifinal stages for the PUBG Mobile Club Open. If the commercial didn't drop any hints, we are going back over to Miramar. But before we do that, Trid, let's break down, let's talk about what we saw in game number 1 of the day.
Nova Esports, as expected, finally back in the game. They walk away with the first place finish, 10 kills to their name. And on the back of some serious effort from Sam, putting in the work with the kills, 9 kills by himself on Vikendi. What an achievement. Just looking at Wi-Fi though, Pittsburgh Knights, 3-man squad, they were able to deflect a lot of attacks, but they bit off more than they could chew when they ran into AreYouScared.
I'm still thinking about Sam chewing all those chicken tenders. He was able to pick up a 9-piece. Trid, that's an incredible solo performance from that player. It certainly helped Nova reach into the final stages of this game, but as well as some very strong plays coming out of some of our other teams that made it into those final 3 placements. Wildcard with some huge nades inside of that building that they had previously smoked out the entirety of.
Did that nice and early to obscure all the sightlines of teams that were aggressive into what was being held as a very central position. This is Tempo, Lost more specifically, getting the spray down onto Wildcard. Not all of those members, they just alerted themselves to the presence of Nova, and there was that solo player, Munoz, who got away with the 3rd place finish, popped his head out a little bit too early, and Nova took it clean off for him. And it just became a battle of meds, and unfortunately, Rain was in no position to stay up for Wildcard, meaning that Nova took away that 1st place finish. Let's have a look at our standings after the conclusion of that first map, because may have shaken it up a little bit. You notice a lot of teams in here with those 1 match played, and Ace Esports already dropped down into an unfortunate position, but that's fine. They got plenty of days to recover. Let's have a look up the leaderboard a little bit more. Have a look at 9 to 16, and a couple of teams in here starting to progress their way up. Wildcard Gaming immediately jumps up to 14th from what would have been a last place position.
Yeah, very good for Wildcard to have a solid performance in terms of placement. Again, not a ton of kills. They had a fair number, but the placement points are going to be the bulk of what Wildcard Gaming has earned so far. 29 points in 1 game. Well, that's not too bad. 2nd place plus 7 kills is how we got there. But let's continue on up the leaderboards, 1 through 8. Misfits still obviously sitting up there on top. You're not going to see any changes just yet, but Spacestation Gaming, they're playing tonight. Misfits are not. You might see the boys from SSG pick up that 1st place spot come end of the day.
I mean, if Nova keeps this up though, they just jump from 9th to 4th in 1 map. And look at their points, they're 87 behind Lights, well, not 87 behind, they've got 87 and a couple of points behind Lights Out. They could leapfrog over a couple of our top 3 teams here, potentially even challenge Misfits and Spacestation Gaming for a 1st or 2nd place finish at the end of our week.
And if you're at home and you might be asking yourself, well, Nova, they're a strong team. What happened to them yesterday? Why are they so low on the leaderboards? Why are they climbing out of essentially a pit? Well, you can check out all of the VODs, all of the replays of that action over on clubopen.pubgmobile.com. Check it out. We've got the rules, the standings, everything that you need to keep you up to date with what's happening here in the semifinals.
Let's pivot our attention over to Miramar though, Phil. That's our next map of the day. We don't see a lot of it in this particular tournament format. In fact, we only see each team play it once per stage pretty much. We already saw our group stage, but we got ourselves into Miramar and in our semi-finals. What are we expecting to see on this desert map? We very rarely see in our PUBG Mobile.
Yes, let's talk about it. 8 by 8 kilometer map, exactly the same size as Erangel, but transitions, again, deadliest part of PUBG Mobile. Transitions are going to be more difficult for these teams. But Trid, without further ado, let's just kick it into the game. Let's see these tough transitions at work as we pop into game number 2. That plane path already greeting us with not the best sight, at least if you're one of the teams playing here, but as Trid says, we love to see these teams forced into rough situations. We want to see that synergy at work. We want to hear these strategies play out for these guys.
With the gladiatorial emperors that lie down on a lounger and be fed grapes, we want to see them go through the hardships rather than the easy time. That southern flight path does make it quite difficult to fully utilize the entirety of Miramar, but it is possible to do so. Obviously, grabbing yourself some vehicles early going to be absolutely pivotal on getting yourself the best selection of loot moving into that 1st phase, and we'll get eyes on where that's going to be dropping very shortly.
So some hot areas to at least keep your eye on. No idea where these teams are going to be going. We saw at least some of them pick up drop locations in the group stages, but this is the first time that we've seen it with these new lobbies coming into the semifinals. Picado might be an area of contention. Los Leones might be another area where we see a few teams land, albeit Los Leones is big enough to house up to 3 teams comfortably. And a lot of teams favoring at least those centralized areas or just maybe the southern region, not able to make it all the way up there to the likes of El Pozo, La Cobraria, Torre Ahumada, and Campo Militar.
spreading it around, and basically teams are currently sticking to that flight path as you expect, jumping off on different times. First circle popping, very mainland, very central, just around St. Martin, or San Martin more accurately. Got a lot of teams going to have to move up. In fact, the worst off from that position so far is Spacestation Gaming, who are keeping down here by Puerto Paraiso in that southeast corner of the map.
And there might be something about the southeastern corners of any map that Spacestation Gaming tends to like. Again, in Vikendi, the first game of the day, you saw them in the far southeast. Once again, different map, but Puerto Paraiso is going to be their landing location. A few teams certainly going over to Picado. AreYouScared going to be one of them, and will certainly one other team just to the south.
Lations Unidos, I think.
Oh, no, that's Tempo Storm.
Whoa.
I mean, here's the thing. If you're Tempo Storm, you essentially have a magnet in your pocket that attracts every other team. Tempo Storm, I mean, albeit they should have known that teams are going to be coming to Picado, but I don't think they're scared of these early game fights anymore, right? It's too common of an occurrence that we see Tempo Storm dropping in these high popular locations. Well, you know, they're going to be at least holding on to the southern edge. AreYouScared in the arena on the northern side? This might be a little bit of a standstill. The teams don't have to collide, but there's not enough loot here in Picado for both of these squads to feel comfortable with going into the mid-game.
And we're having a look at where some of these teams are. Cream are off to that western wall, south of Trailer Park, and entering into El Pozo right now. But you've got Nova in there already with Ignite Gold. So that western front of the circle being very populated to begin with. Still going to have Tempo and AreYouScared just by Hokage. Graveyard going to be occupied by Shoot to Win, who are keeping an eye on Lations Unidos right now. So they're approaching further north into their territory. But it's going to be Cotto to get the first knock of the game onto a member of Ignite Gold.
And this is one of the unique features of Miramar. You can see it at work right now over that far landscape. Matias is essentially in the wide open. You're going to see a lot of bolt action and DMR rifles in play here on this map in particular, because those shots are going to be the long distance shots. You're going to be able to essentially rain down lead on your opponents if you have the aiming mechanics. Rez going to be picked up as they disengage off of that fight. Nova, Kato taken down very low. He was able to secure the knock, not able to secure the kill as Ignite Gold pulls off entirely. But Kato, he doesn't care how much HP he has. He has no meds. There's no coming back off of this, but he's going to play aggressive nonetheless.
May as well, if he can't heal himself, just throw himself as a body for information. Beowulf should come up to support, but
that's his personal EMT.
Yeah, he's right there ready to go, but they're going to rotate back around. He doesn't have the health insurance for this move, so he's going to come back. Beowulf jumps up into that higher area. Have a look at 4 Hokage. They're spread out quite far around the area they're occupying. And you see in the distance, Mega from version 2 White just paying a visit inside that city as well. Just south of Los Leones is where we're looking at right now.
Yeah, 2 teams. Enough room to work off of here in Los Leones. But again, that centralized circle on San Martin will be drawing a lot of teams towards that direction. One team in particular that landed there is going to be the Pittsburgh Knights. They're not going to have to adjust, but they have to be aware that other teams will be entering the fray here in just a matter of minutes. The blue zone about maybe 30 seconds, 45 seconds off or so from encroaching now on phase number 1.
The entirety of the northeast of the map has been untouched. Revenants are closest to utilizing it. They're just south of Al-Hazahar, but they're going to be keeping themselves in position. Cream Esports, they're rotating around the map to the north of the circle and the north of the map as a whole. Getting themselves into an uncongested area. Having a look at Pittsburgh Knights, we spoke about them in that San Martin area. You've got Team Anarchy quite close to them coming in from the south. They may crash into them if they're not too careful. You've also got Wildcard up to the north of them as well, which may have to move in as the circle progresses. But IGN caught off guard by Koto and the rest of Nova again, getting the first flush of the game, putting Ignite Gold on the back foot. And that player was solo. He was isolated. The rest of his team are already mounted up and are leaving the area safely.
Kato says no meds, no problemo. As they pick up that kill, the remaining members of this Ignite Gold squad just continuing to disengage off to the far western wall of Miramar, a very polarized location, certainly outside of the circle that they have to eventually make their way inside of. But they're going to be able to at least pick off some loot, play this a little bit more passively, trying to get their strategy fixed up and ready for the oncoming mid-game.
Marvis is really starved for product right now. He's got no helmet, no backpack, no vest. He's only got himself a can and, well, he's got himself a pan as well, and I believe they had a revolver in his hand. That's nothing to work with right now. I wonder if Ignite Gold have been playing a little bit brazenly around Nova. They're desperate right now.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Nova prevented the members of Ignite Gold from moving into El Pozo, choking off their loot entirely, and now Ignite Gold is forced to try to rotate around what is trash loot. Make no mistake. I mean, these compounds are great, sure, but you're not going to be picking up everything that you need for your team. Popping back over here to Picado, though. Tempo Storm has rotated out of the southwestern corner of this city, and now over towards the motel they go. They're not going to be interested in what AreYouScared is presenting in terms of a threat off to the north, and this is a bit of a shift in terms of the strategy that we've seen Tempo Storm employ in previous games. Perhaps they just didn't clash, so Tempo Storm has no reason to fight this, or perhaps they're ultra aware of the presence of AreYouScared and just want to avoid it entirely.
They need to be aware of 4 Hokage, who are actually coming into that area as well. They're driving past in vehicles, but they're going to make enough noise to draw the attention of both of these teams. Just to see if anyone's going to get knocked down because of this. We're on board with HQA. They're making some noise themselves. In fact, some dulcet tones coming from their vehicle as they drive across the desert. They're heading further south away from El Pozo right now. I'm going to play edge of this next circle for the time being, as Kuang is already set up near Monte Nuevo.
A lot of room inside of phase number 1 for all 16 teams in this lobby to maneuver around and find a place to call home. There's no reason to crash into a contested area, but Spec going to be caught out. It's the members of AreYouScared now engaging onto this. Spec maybe just lost sight of the fact that there was another team on the northern side, tried to get inside of the Bronco and not able to do so. Bronco going to be exploded as Spec continues to bleed out. An open area is what separates him from his teammates still up on their feet.
Thankfully, he's got the cover of demolished vehicles, so we can stay alive a little bit longer. And you can see Nova, they cancelled their retreat to stay alive. Look at the molly coming in. It's forced him around, and Spec in line of sight will get finished off. That is a relief in a way for Tempo. It means they don't have to try anything stupid, and they get away with 3 and salvage this for themselves.
I don't know if I'd be relieved seeing my top fragger on the squad get taken out. It's an unfortunate loss.
It's a relief rather than committing 3 to a fight and losing all of you.
There you go. The glass is half full.
Silver linings, ladies and gentlemen. Silver linings.
Woo! And here's the far rotation coming out of the southeast. Spacestation Gaming are no strangers to these late rotations, and, well, that's good for them. They know how to play around this. They know what to expect, and, well, they're likely going to continue on this northern track. Helmet leading this charge, as well as Sixless, as Juicy and Angry pull up the rear. But right now, I mean, really no commotion has popped off. A few shots as players get caught out in unfortunate situations, but no full squad-on-squad engagements, and that's what we expect here from Miramar. Easy rotations, for the most part, throughout phases 1, 2, and 3, but as we approach that 20-minute mark of this game, that is when things start to boil over.
First phase about to pop, and we're going to see how this game is going to be shifted over. It's going to mainly fall on the center, over to the northwest. Not too hard of a shift, but these teams in the southeast going to have to start trucking on forward if they want a favorable position in the next phase.
Wildcard are already moving towards Hacienda del Patron, where Team Anarchy has already taken up shelter. Pittsburgh Knights, though, still inside of San Martin. 4 Hokage has made their way around that area as well. But everyone is just trying to vie for a better position. I see Lations Unidos getting dangerously close to the members of Shoot to Win, down off of that graveyard position where Shoot to Win had been holding trade. We saw them a few minutes ago. They were in that graveyard. They didn't look like they were leaving, and, well, they don't have to just yet, but they might have to combat against the likes of Lations Unidos, who are rolling over the hills.
May get LOS of them, but they're vacating quite fast here in those vehicles. Shoot to Win able to get away from graveyard, and they're probably cleared out a sizable amount of the loot in the area as well, so not much for Lations Unidos to pick away from this one, other than a safe location for them to hold onto as these teams start to collapse in. We'll talk about how the southeast may be a hotbed of action just because of the amount of teams that are rotating into the point from that outside location. We're having a look at 4 Hokage and Pittsburgh Knights sharing territory in the center of the circle right now, so this is prime real estate for them to hold onto.
Certainly no engagements to be had here. 4 Hokage going to be feeling comfortable in their position on this southwestern corner of San Martin. They don't have wide open areas to go across should they have to make those switches, those transitions, and they've got a lot of cover in the form of buildings to protect them should they ultimately decide to do so. But the blue zone is starting to work its way in on phase number 2. Phase number 3 is around the corner as the Pittsburgh Knights continue to watch these angles. Again, other teams starting to at least get closer and closer to San Martin, but none really breaching inside of the city limits where the Pittsburgh Knights have been holding.
They're lining up to try and deal with that threat, but Psycho spotted out Angry. Brings him pretty much to an inch of his life. He's pulling over now to get the recovery in effect, and Lopez going over the hill. Trying to get LOS on him, may spot him out, but the meds have come in time. He's still very vulnerable in this position. A lot of teammates around here as they're taking wide angles to flank him up. Lopez has the line of sight, but Psycho just burns the vehicle, destroys the cover, knocks Angry down, finishes him off, and That's an unfortunate start for Spacestation Gaming.
There was not much that he could do there. He was caught out entirely. Too much damage was applied to the vehicle in that rotation. And Shoot to Win comes up victorious, at least as it relates to one member of Spacestation Gaming. The rest of the squad was able to safely get out of there. So Spacestation Gaming is still certainly a contender for one of those top positions here in this game, as HQA makes their way out of Monte Nuevo, that southwestern region of the previous zone. No longer going to be in play, but only a short rotation that they're going to have to make should they stop on the edge of phase number 2.
I can imagine HQA playing edge like they have been doing multiple occasions here. Yefei going to jump in that vehicle, and they did this on Vikendi as well. They were one of the teams who stuck around on the outside and only moved when they had to. And when they're playing the constant game of chasing the circle and chasing new territory, they always expose themselves off to greater dangers down the line. They're not fixing the problem, Esquire. They're just delaying it until it becomes even more lethal and detrimental.
And it's unfortunate, too, because HQA is a team that can frag. They've had difficulty getting the placements, but when you play edge, you have to be able to take those fights, and you have to come up victorious, but they've just been facing off against too many squads. They're whittled down by the time they ultimately are at a good position inside of the circle.
Show me the circle. It's going to be popping up the next phase. Going very southern, so it's forcing all those teams into the north, northeast, and even some to just the general east to move in closer. Picardo, Power Grid, and San Martin implicated in this next circle. But there's a lot of open terrain that needs to be utilized.
Certainly is. Power Grid and the surrounding mountains going to be wide open, but teams stand in resistance on the northern side as well as the eastern side. But a majority of the lobby will be coming down through that northern side where, well,
Graveyard is going to become just that in a second, Squire. A lot of teams are funneling through that one location.
Yeah, certainly there are. BlindedByWin trying to come in here. Space Station Gaming still around this area. Lations Unidos as well, but it's going to be Shoot to Win facing off against the members of BlindedByWin. But look at the lines of sight that Lations Unidos can get up there from the coal mines. Revo is in a position, should he have a DMR or a bolt-action sniper, to knock heads left and right.
I'm fairly certain Juicy is coming behind Lations Unidos as well, so they're not too careful. They may get caught out guard to begin with, but Martin's going to hold down this location from the church with Lopez. This Psycho taking a few shots at Manny. He's on the roof right now. That's not the safest of positions to be. He's not even got a harness on. If he slips, he's going to take too much damage, and also there's going to be Shoot to Win to clean them up, as Manny now going to be taking those painkillers, popping up the stim. He's got a Car 98 in his hand, so rifles and DMRs reign supreme on Miramar. Maybe I have to get the use, but look at Lopez. He's pushing up. He's holding around the corner for now. Going to pop an energy drink and then hopefully pop Manny's head afterwards. But you got Woods and Hector off to the side. They may be able to cover it. Manny is just running away at this point.
Yeah, pulling back. Lopez was possibly on a good push right there, but realized quickly that he didn't have enough distraction to combat the likes of BlindedByWin, as we're starting to see the kill feed erupt, at least in this area of the map. Lations Unidos going to be combating the members of Space Station Gaming. Not seeing it on the screen, but certainly seeing it in the kill feed.
Singular. Juicy was off by himself, coming up behind Lations Unidos. Got one knock, but then obviously it flips around very quickly when you're 1v4ing an entire squad. He's going to lose his life for it, but Sam, kill leader of last game, opening up onto Pittsburgh Knights, just keeping him at arm's length while Beowulf gets recovered, but nades are coming in. You need to be very careful not to be affected by that one. The range is there for Wi-Fi, just can't find the mark for now, and Nova are going to get Beowulf up and get him out of this dangerous zone.
Another quick decision for the members of Nova to disengage. This is something that you see a lot from this squad. They are very aware of when they are at a disadvantage. Even being such a strong squad as we've seen over the last 3 weeks of this tournament, they still know pick your battles and pick them wisely, pulling off the Pittsburgh Knights engagement entirely and making a rotation around the western side of the previous circle. But we're about to see phase number 4 pop. The blue zone almost at the edges of phase number 3, and Shoot to Win still going to be holding on to the graveyard, but Lations Unidos off to the east, team number 18 on the minimap. They're pushing in. The shots continue to come out as version 2 White has also entered into this engagement. They're going to be popping off. Waz trying to land the shots onto Revo. They're not going to be coming out with the VSS. Not able to be flushed just yet, but Lations Unidos are taking casualties. Clone is going to be going down to the blue zone, and he's got to have his teammates come back to try to provide that ultra utility and picking them back up.
Well, this is going as well. Tempo taking engagement with Revenants. The play zone will claim another knock to Angel. And Revo's now going to be taken out by that one, just by the blue. They're crawling in through the graveyard, but they're just crawling into the ground. That's going to be Lations Unidos removed as our first squad loss of the map.
Next phase is up. Phase number 4 shifts over to the western side of things. Power Grid going to be at least part of the landscape of the northern side of this phase that we will see teams fighting around, but Shoot to Win is on the roll. They're in the bus trying to combat the likes of Cream Esports. Karma going to be spraying down, not able to find the fatal connections. It's going to be the vehicle players that end up dropping down Karma. The flush comes out as well. BlindedByWin going to be stealing the kill away from Shoot to Win. These teams with the 2-win names are going to be lighting up the kill feed, and there it is. The vehicle explosion comes out. Cream's Cheto going to be dropped down, leaving just Kira atop the hill to look back and essentially just wave goodbye at their teammates that were dropped out of the game.
Doing their best Fury Road impression right now, taking on multiple kills as they follow that road into the circle. And Revenants, they might be next on the menu for them if they don't keep their heads down. You can see Tanker and Peralta in front of this Death Buggy as they start popping off shots against Shoot to Win. Rafa not taking any damage for now. They crash into the rock to get out and try and return fire. But the high ground definitely in favor of Revenants here. As you see Shoot to Win fanning out to try and avoid the shots coming in from Espinosa. Going full auto onto this squad in the distance. Switches it up to the DMR. Going to hit a shot onto Psycho, but nothing more for now. Keep popping off. See if they get any knocks and turn these shots into kills and flushes.
3 members of Shoot to Win went the right way. One member, Lopez in particular, got caught out behind a rock. Not going to be able to disengage off of this. He lost his helmet in the process, able to get the meds going. Boost almost at full capacity, so he will be regenerating that health as his other members hide behind this deflate. Again, Vigilante and Espinosa's position is an absolute counter should any of the members of Shoot to Win try to engage back off of this. Peralta and Tanker, yes, 2-2 split, but they need to be careful. Version 2 White going to be spotting out AreYouScared. Southern side of phase number 4 is becoming ultra deadly as Mighty going to be flushed out of the game. A few other members, Cal and the rest of the crew, still surviving off to the north of where Version 2 White is currently pushing.
Teams keep getting knocked to the blue zone. I don't like it, Esquire. We've seen a lot of people be claimed by that right now, and they shouldn't be at this stage of the competition, but was the rest of Version 2 White going to push up against AreYouScared? Maluma leading the charge, being the point man. The rest comes out. They've got their player back in the game. There's multiple men running up there to try and contest. Going over the hill right now. Who's going to take the brunt of this force to begin with? It's Shishu trying to make the run for it. Cal's returning fire. We'll get the knock onto Mega and onto Watts. So Maluma has to pick up the slack, but he's dropped it at the last hurdle. And that's going to be AreYouScared cleaning up Version 2 White, especially Bad Player who's trying to return this back onto them. He's the last man standing with a fraction of his health. AreYouScared are aware of this as he presses up. Shishu going for the one-on-one. He's going to settle for the flushes for now, hopefully, as he takes out Maluma, but Bad Player looking to go on the offensive, the return. He fires the shots, gets the flush, didn't go for the standing target. And Shishu now going to be a solo operator for AreYouScared, but he keeps him in the game.
Yeah, 5 kills. He's certainly not going to be too upset with what they came out with, but again, placements are where you get the points. 10 teams remaining, a few more placements to rack up before AreYouScared can be content with what they've done here in game number 2 as the kill feed continues to light up. Phase number 5 in full effect. It's hard shifted back over to the northeastern side of things. So our teams down here to the southwest, well, they've got to roll across these wide open areas, these extremely vulnerable positions to make their way to safety. A few teams, though, already inside. Revenants getting bombed on right now by the members of Pittsburgh Knights. Looks like it's going to be a full compound crash. As the shots come out, will Pittsburgh Knights be able to combat the likes of Peralta and his teammates here in this area?
Hoping they can do that as well. While this is going on, Shoot to Win also taking an engagement with Nova on the northwest. Grenades coming in from Tanker. They're going to throw out them over, and one going to be returned over to Tanker. Just see if he can get this on. Vehicles being destroyed right now. Taking cover behind the smoke. You got Pittsburgh Knights trying to do all they can to deter any aggression coming out from Revenants. While this is going on, though, Spacestation Gaming getting that wipe on the other side of the circles. Tanker still taking aggression from Pittsburgh. Wi-Fi looking to hold that angle, denied, and maybe go around the fence here to get a better sight line on them, but will expose themselves to the fire.
So this is unfortunate
behind them.
This is unfortunate right now for Revenants. They were in that 2-2 split. We saw them in it a few minutes ago, but now they're facing off against 2 different teams. Wildcard rolled up on the members on the high ground, and Pittsburgh Knights on the low ground. But Tempo Storm going to be fighting against the members of Team Anarchy. Chica going to be going down. The Molotovs coming out, trying to zone off. The remaining members of Tempo still alive and possibly get that fatal damage out onto the player they had previously knocked. All 4, though, going to be alive for Anarchy as Lost tries to get at least some clue on his surroundings. Nades, though, going to be coming in. Chica gets flushed out of the game by James of Anarchy.
Lost holding the wide angle. Nico's going to press up where his former comrade just died. He's got to cover a vehicle and smoke to work with. High ground in favor of Team Anarchy. Shots coming in against Nico. He's left into the wind, and the headshot will get that knock. So now it's all on the solo member of Tempo to come around here, hoping that lost the IGL can lead his team to victory, but it's a 4v1 engagement. I wouldn't bet on him with my life right now.
Well, he's got the level 3 kit, the armor and the helmet certainly benefiting him at least a little bit, but with 4 guns aimed in his direction, it's going to be at least a little bit difficult for him to fight this. Molotov's coming out, trying to zone off Lost from his previous position as he tries to pull back, but as you can see, wide open area is what separates him, and there are some teams around that southwestern
Michael is right there as well. Michael, as a solo player, could pop his head up and potentially shoot down Lost while he's holding the angle of Anarchy. You got Nova all the way in the distance as well, so those shots are coming in from them. Beowulf being the one to pick up the kill, and Michael just keeps his head down. He actually deals an attack offensive onto Sam, getting a knock while they're taking another engagement. Beowulf also gets dropped here. So that solo player from HQA, maybe working out advantageous. His Peralta going to get involved into the mix, finding the flush onto Beowulf and dropping Nova down to 3.
Phase number 5 is popped. We're going to be continuing to go over towards the eastern side of things. Revenants have now found themselves still in this bit of a split, 2-1, but they're going to be safe and sound inside of the circle. This is the time, though, for this Revenant squad. They still have all 4 make that a 2-2 split they're currently in, but this is the time for them to reunite as a 4-stack and hold on to whatever ground they can. Peralta still trying to combat against the members of the Pittsburgh Knights that are holding on to this compound, and this is what I was talking about, Trid. They are facing off. This version of the duo for the members of Revenants are hitting up the members of Pittsburgh Knights, but their other duo, the other part of this 2-2 split, is still fighting off against Wildcard on the southeastern side of phase number 6. Illusion starting to feel the brunt of this as Ranger gets dropped. He's trying to get the smoke out, trying to get the concealment in place to make a move to pick up his fallen teammate, but other teams are now entering the fray. It's going to be Anarchy bombing in as HQA's Michael, the solo player, gets spotted out and dropped down. HQA eliminated in 7th position.
Unfortunate for him, Pittsburgh Knights still holding on to that compound. Peralta opening up onto Sam. The play zone will be the one to claim his life, putting Nova into a 2-man situation. Cotto and Edwin snaking their way into the circle, but Peralta opens up, gets that knock on the Cotto. He's going to go down, so it's all for Edwin to play for, but he's trying to keep up with the blue that's moving in. He may not be able to. Have exposed himself, he might get shot. You can already see him heal up and lose that health nearly just as fast.
Revenants 2-2 split. The duo that was combating against the likes of Wildcard is now facing off against Anarchy as well, and they are taking casualties. Wildcard now aware of another team entering from the northern side of things, trying to spray down onto the members of Anarchy. It's going to be Ranger with the M416, but he takes a lot of fire in the process, dropped down to 1 HP, and then ultimately knocked down as Illusions continues to hide inside of this bush. No cover, but certainly concealment from the onslaught being put down, and he's going to be found and spotted. A headshot coming in from Killer with the M416.
He may as well have had a giant sign above him saying, "Shoot here." There was barely any concealment for him for that team when it came to getting those shots landed. Able to find him quite handedly through that position. 7 getting closer to Peralta. Tanker holding the wide angle from afar, making sure that Pittsburgh Knights can't get in there as they're pressing around this room. Peralta's got a good position to get that third-person peek. Shishu tries to invite himself to a party where he is not welcome and gets rejected at the door.
But Peralta continues to hide behind this fence lines. Pittsburgh Knights might reveal themselves to one of the members of this Revenant squad still alive. This is the only duo that remains, but the circle shifts again over towards the eastern side of things. This is no longer going to be safe. A migration has to come out, and James blows up the vehicle, knocking down Peralta. That's going to be huge damage coming out right there as the members of Team Anarchy continue to play spoiler for all of the teams that were in this area before they entered off of that northern flank.
They also have the control. The circle's gone straight over towards them as well, so any team has to aggress. The only player who can kind of mess this up for them is Zeus. He seems to be the player that might be able to get in there sooner because he is closer from a different angle than the rest of these engagements. You can see Wi-Fi pushing out Zeus up on this hill. No one's thinking to look there. He's relatively exposed. Should they come through the smoke, gets a few shots off, and he might be able to deal with that one, but he's uncertain where everyone else is. Tanker going to go down to the shot of 9 as Pittsburgh Knights press forward, and after they've dealt with Peralta, it's now the final 3 squads remaining.
8 players alive, 3 for the Pittsburgh Knights, but 4 for the members of Team Anarchy, leaving just a solo player for Wildcard off to the southeast. But the battle starts to erupt here between the Knights as well as Team Anarchy. A lot of shots being applied, a lot of damage going out on top of Jagger as he hides behind this building. Hard cover presenting itself to get the first aid off, but the other members of Pittsburgh Knights have to push up. And all eyes are going to be on Wildcard. Will they just win out? Zeus tried to move up, tried to advance his position with the window of opportunity he had, but it had come and gone, and now we have our final 2 teams remaining of game number 2 of day 2 of this semifinals here for the Club Open.
Jagger and Killer could practically be kissing right now. It's only a wall that divides them. They're so close and they can't see each other around the corner, but they know they can hear the footsteps. Jagger would have got it there. That's going to open it up. Immediately goes on the aggression. Takes the path around the side. Killer going to bite off more than he can chew. Gets knocked down, but 7 in an unrecoverable position as they're just going to storm in. James going for the spray down. Exposes himself to more gunfire from the rear, but the shots don't land true. So James gets away with murder here. Quite literally, as Wi-Fi trying to escape, and the spray comes in from James. Won't be able to find it. The knock comes in. The smoke obscuring everything. It's a 2v1 as 9 and Micro TT coming in to deal with the aftermath of this fight. From the angle, Wi-Fi drops down, finds 9. He only has one more player to deal with. It's Micro TT to try and salvage it for Anarchy. He goes for the flush, exposes himself, and what a play by Pittsburgh Knights. They're able to walk away with the first place finish.
And their first place finish of the tournament, 8 kills at that. They are going to be extremely happy with the performance that they came out of here on Miramar, especially because they don't have to see Miramar for at least a few more days of gameplay. So hey, you got the points that you needed to. Now take it over to Erangel for the second half of the day and try to continue that momentum, pick up the points wherever you can.
He shouldn't have got away with that. That should have been Team Anarchy's first map win of the tournament altogether. Unfortunately, it was won out there by Pittsburgh Knights. We're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we're going to check you in with the standings and give you an update on what's happening with the next map.
Welcome back, everyone, to the PUBG Mobile Club Open for North America. We are halfway done with day number 2 of the semifinal stages. We just saw an epic game played out on Miramar, though, where the Pittsburgh Knights came in with a commanding first-place chicken dinner.
And it should have been Anarchy's game to take, but Pittsburgh Knights were able to come back into it off the back of a solo player. But we had some shenanigans earlier in the game. Vehicular combat coming in, shooting to win, doing just that. Driving through the mountains of Miramar and laying down the herd onto Cream Esports NA.
Yeah, pretty crazy. A 3-piece out of the bus. They were able to get 2 knocks behind them and then Cheto in the vehicle. And well, that was unfortunate to see if you're one of those teams, and awesome to see if you are another. But here, another engagement that took place on the hill. This was a pretty epic squad-on-squad battle between AreYouScared and the members of Version 2 White. It all rested on the shoulders of Bad Player now to come up. All 3 of his teammates bleeding out. Maluma already knocked down and out of the game. A 1v1 scenario. Could he get it? No, unfortunately he couldn't. Although he did try very hard to it.
And these are those final moments here. Jagger just going to come into this fight already, but he just gets knocked down here. He actually knocks Killer, who went for that early engagement. I think it all goes wrong here when the rush comes in from James, but now it just leaves one on the back line. Wi-Fi being the player to do it. And the rush comes out from James, and not going to find it just yet as he gets the spray down, deals with him quite handily, plays around the smoke, doesn't go for the flush. He knows there's 2 more members of Team Anarchy lying in wait. Micro TT and 9 come for the push in. And I don't know what happened here with Anarchy. It just seemed to all crumble. They took different angles, and Wi-Fi was able to play around the obscured vision and take the fights one at a time when they should have been engaging at the same time to get that definitive kill. They took 2 separate one-on-ones rather than just a straight-up 2v1. Just unfortunate play by Team Anarchy, but it played into the hands of Wi-Fi and the rest of Pittsburgh Knights.
Yeah, when you're in that situation as Team Anarchy, you always want to be able to trade out if one of your remaining 2 players goes down. Knock out Wi-Fi for Pittsburgh Knights, secure the win. Unfortunately fell short of that, and fortunately for the Knights, well, they picked up the win. That's huge for the Pittsburgh Knights. We talked about it before this game. They are a team that traditionally in the PUBG mobile scene have had success, but over the first 3 weeks of this tournament have fallen short, I think, of their expectations and possibly the fans' expectations as well. But they're turning things around. Let's take a look at the scoreboards now after game number 2 of day 2 has been played out.
Still got Lations Unidos in that last place, 4 points, but they're only 1 point behind Ignite Gold. Just not too much to carry forth there and try and overtake them. Let's have a look as we go further up though, so it starts to get a little bit spicier. Pittsburgh Knights forcing themselves into 11th place. They've still got 2 more games to play today, so they can probably break into the top 8, assuming they have reasonable performances on our double helping of Erangel, now up to the top 8 themselves.
Yeah, Trid, before we get to the top 8, I'm concerned because when you look at 16th place, it's around 38 points. Our teams that are in, I believe, 23rd and 24th position right now, That is a lot of points to make up. 16th place has 8 times the points of those bottom 2 teams. But again, now top 8. Let's look at the teams that have been able to rack up points on points on points. Spacestation Gaming only 9 points away from overtaking the lead that Misfits Gaming were able to rack up in yesterday's games. But again, make no mistake, Misfits have not played today. They play tomorrow, and they'll have another opportunity to climb.
Yeah, but like we're saying, they're only a couple of points behind Misfits Gaming, but they've done that in 2 additional maps. We're waiting for these teams to catch back up, like you said. Let's have a look at 2 teams to watch for this next map on Erangel. It is our 2 map winners of the day so far, Nova Esports and Pittsburgh Knights. Yes, Pittsburgh Knights have played fewer matches, but if you start dividing the numbers to match the score lines, I mean, those kills start to level out a little bit, as do the points.
Yeah, they certainly do. The quick math is being applied right now by us and everyone at home. But yes, the ratios definitely favor the members of Knights right now. But again, a small sample size. They have a lot of opportunities to both advance those numbers, but at the same time, possibly pull back on some of those numbers. But Trid, we are popping over to Erangel, the map that everyone knows and loves, the original map here for the PUBG mobile scene. And well, it's the OG. Everyone's got a little special place in their heart for this.
And we've seen a lot of teams drop in different locations. You know, Nova, they're typically going to go for Novo instead. They always head to that location. Milta's typically been locked down by Tempo quite a lot, as well as, I believe it was Lations Unidos taking down Milta Power on top of that as well. So there's a lot of locations around that southeast that have already been locked up. Unnamed, they usually take away Pachinki. They're not playing today, unfortunately, but that means it's free for someone else to take over and potentially have it uncontested for probably the only time this tournament it will be.
Well, actually 2 teams that we have seen fight in Milta, Lations Unidos and Tempo Storm.
Yep.
Right? Lations Unidos, they wiped out Tempo Storm in Milta, and they haven't played in the same lobby since then. So I'm actually going to be curious to see how things transpire in Milta. Also going to be keeping our eyes on the heart of Erangel, the Pachinki city that has become a hotbed of destruction. A lot of teams trying to stake their claim to that. But let's get it into game. Game number 3 coming in hot for day number 2 of the semifinal stages for the North American PUBG Mobile Club Open. And a fair playing path is what we're going to be looking at, splitting Erangel essentially in half. Whether you go east, west, north, or south, you are likely going to be able to find your loot location.
Exactly what you are looking for in life and in this map in particular. So like we said, expect to see Nova go over to Novo. They always drop on that one. Milta, Lations Unidos, and Tempo Storm. Georgia Pole, south and north, get a good shout in Erangel, typically from our mobile teams as well, but they may need to stay in the plane a little bit longer. AreYouScared? Don't surprise me. They typically drop in Military Island as well, taking over that position. Usually we see them go for the 3-1 split on this one and play around that western bridge. But Lations Unidos, they're actually dropping a solo, well, they're dropping short of Pachinki, where they're, or Milta, sorry, but they usually go. They're dropping onto Ferry.
Yeah, all players going to be going to the Ferry Pier area. An interesting shift from the previous strategy that we've seen them play here, but they're going to be all alone. They're not going to have to contest anything. It's going to be an easy loot phase, at least for these teams, but the farm and Milta area are drawing the attention of not 1, not 2, but mark that 3 separate teams. Wildcard, you can see Illusion already trying to bomb down towards that area. We've also got the likes of Cream Esports, as well as the members of Version 2 White. That's going to be a trifecta of engagements that could be popping off here very shortly.
Pachinki's actually now being occupied by Ignite Gold and another squad on top of that one as well. So that could be posing some difficulty for them.
Yeah, it's going to be Tempo Storm, I believe, that has shifted off of that.
They ignored Milta to go to Pachinki. That is a shift up from them.
It's kind of a power play. You have to say it's a power play. Maybe they didn't expect anyone to be there. Certainly, you know, a lot still to be discovered for these teams, but the shots are going to be coming out over here on the eastern side of things with that trifecta that we were just talking about, that triangle of teams that was landing in this area. Kira, he's got the going to be spraying out some long-distance shots. Not really the gun that you want for those connections, but some pressure being applied. Maybe more guns, more ammunition than the members of Wildcard had been able to pick up.
So I expect a team like Ignite Gold to drop onto Pachinki, even if a team like Unnamed was there. But we've never seen, if I recall correctly, we've never seen Tempo drop Pachinki in the Club Open. Was it the fact that they're just very cautious or conscientious of the fact that that's Unnamed City? And it might not be the best idea to drop onto a team that consistently wins out that city. And now they know they're not in the lobby, and they know that Milta was typically getting a lot of attention. maybe shifting it up to Pachinki and challenging a less skilled team in the form of your likes of your IGNs drop in there as well. Maybe the best play for them here.
Yeah, I think two things coming into play, and you nailed them on the head exactly. Maybe the fact that they didn't expect Ignite Gold to be there. They'd scouted the lobby and didn't see any Pachinki fans, at least in the 16-team lineup. But also, with the playing path, when they jumped out, I think they likely saw a bunch of parachutes heading over towards the east and tried to divert altogether. But we're looking now at Yasnaya Poyana. This is SSG's home, Spacestation Gaming. They know it, they love it. They are going to be going here every single time as long as they have the opportunity, and with this playing path, they certainly did. But another team looting up on the western side of this city. It's going to be none other than the members of Revenants, a strong squad, a force to be reckoned with that Spacestation Gaming needs to be aware of. They can certainly loot up very carefully, very comfortably on the opposite sides of the city, but as they work their way inwards, they will likely clash.
It surprises me that Team Anarchy aren't also in Yasnaya, as they typically drop in that area. They've gone to school and apartments around that area, so hopefully they're not going to be able to make that rotation up to Yasnaya, depending on where the circle goes. Tempo and IGN traded a few shots, but not any HP so far. So they were completely aware that they are not alone, and they're ready to throw hands.
Yeah, it looks like Tempo is kind of choking out the members of Ignite Gold right now on the minimap. You can see that Lost Chica and the rest of the Tempo Storm squad have formed essentially a half circle, blocking off any area of these members to roll around. It's essentially a gatekeep inside of Pachinki, but Kipe going to be spotting out Chica trying to cross that wide open area that separates the east from the western part of this Pachinki town, able to safely make that move, but now the positioning of Ignite Gold has been completely revealed, and Tempo will begin to play off of that. But do they expect that Fi is in the building just to the south, a few meters away from where Chica is? Well, Chica's going in.
Chica doesn't care where Fi is.
That's the question, though. Does he know that there's a member up here? And certainly he's going to be taking fire, but not aware. And that's going to be a connection with the ump. Marvis getting extremely good shots. Fi doesn't even have to worry about it, but he has to worry about Lost. That pushes up to try to support their teammate. A quick knock and a flush, and they're going to be out of the game.
Tell them to come back into this room so it's safer for them to get the res off. Throws the smoke out. Grenades are starting to fly into the main upper floor building. Grabbing into that side room. IGN are pushing in here. Suppressive fire coming in from outside of the house. And they're going to alert Lost that he's not going to be alone. The pre-fire coming in from Wasson already. And just gets sprayed down. He completely alerted his position. Yes, IGN will come into it and get a recovery off of that. But that should have been so much cleaner. There's the flush coming into Lost. Chica should go down afterwards. But they're using it to bait in the rest of Tempo. Spec and Nico coming up to try and contest, throwing grenades into the room, getting rushed upon as he drops down the stairs, pulls out his rifle to deal any damage. But they bought enough time for Ignite Gold to get their all members back on their feet. Going to go for the spray down instead at the bottom of the stairs. Wasson actually going to get the flush onto Chica now. They fully recovered. And they can trade out HP for HP here as the grenade going to bounce off the wall, try and find something. Landing at the feet of the stairs, but not going to explode to take anyone out. The band's going to be applied. Hang on a minute. Spec still pulls it off onto Marvis. He had plenty of time to react. Nico deals with Wasson, who went for a flank around the outside. And Spec is going to finish him off.
This engagement has been turned on the head of Ignite. Now Kipe trying to do whatever he can to keep the members, the two remaining members of Tempo Storm at bay. But Nico, about 5 HP, a few bandages to their name. They're not going to be pulling off this grenade. It's prepped, it's cooked, it's on the stairwell. But Nico is smart enough to move away. A smart play as they wipe out the entirety of Ignite Gold. Specto, post-mortem grenade, it comes in, right? He's going to be knocked, but fortunately has Nico there. Tempo Storm, although they won Pachinki here, Trid, you have to be worried about what they lost, and certainly that's going to be the war of attrition versus the other 14 teams remaining here in this lobby.
Never mind what they lost. I lost a few brain cells watching Spec run over that grenade right there after the fight was over.
Well, and watching that member of Ignite Gold sit and watch that grenade right in front of his face.
Yeah, Marvis,
you wanted to see Marvis. He could have quickly just bailed off of that little crouch position he was in and gone inside of the bathroom on the second story, opted not to do so. It was close enough. He had to have known that that grenade would do that fatal bit of damage. He had like 10 HP, Trid. He should have moved.
He should have moved, but they ultimately lost out on that fight. An early squad wipe coming in favor of Tempo, but not without casualty. As we've already said, 2 members remaining for Tempo Storm now. After it went a little bit south on that 2-2 split, after they tried to kettle Ignite Gold into a corner of Pachinki. But now, I suppose they get a bit of a monkey's paw. They get their wish of having Pachinki to themselves, but there's only 2 of them to enjoy it.
I don't even know what a monkey's paw is. I'm curious, Trid. What's a monkey's paw?
A monkey's paw is when you wish for something. It's a bit of a mythology or legend.
Okay.
Typically a cursed item of a literal monkey's paw.
Okay.
You hold it, you make a wish, and then one of the fingers close down. You're given the wish, but you're not. It's kind of like making a deal with the devil. There's an unforeseen consequence of that wish.
Very interesting. Drop in knowledge. Thank you, Trid, for that explanation. That's actually that's pretty interesting and actually very accurate in terms of what Tempo Storm is now facing off against. AreYouScared making that rotation off of Military Island. They're going to be holding on to the southern edge of this zone. Phase number 1 essentially centered on top of Ruins, slightly favored over towards the western side of Erangel. But again, you know, Trid, I got to ask the question, right? What's going to happen here in our 4th and final game of the day when we come back to Erangel? Did Tempo Storm do enough to essentially instill the fear of God into Ignite Gold to say, you're never coming to Pochinki again?
Ignite Gold comes across as one of those teams that's like a dog chasing its tail. I'm not sure they know exactly what their plan is, so I have a feeling that if Tempo hot drop Pochinki, Ignite Gold may not even go to Pochinki or even be thinking about going Pochinki again, regardless of the outcome of Pochinki this map.
Yep, so keep your eyes on that. Certainly something exciting that could be popping up. But the members of Nova are going to be making this rotation dangerously nearby on the road where some of the members of Cream Esports have already positioned themselves. Cream going to be caught off guard, at least in terms of what they're able to put out on damage on the Edwin's vehicle. But the shots come out, pressure enough to be applied to send Nova packing up to the north.
Angry's taken a little bit of damage in that vehicle with Sixless as they're driving through the school area to head to the circle. Next circle that popped up, northwest, hard shifting a lot of these teams from those southern areas. The likes of Cream, AreYouScared, and Nova having to make the longest trip, and even Shoot to Win are coming up from Morsk. They have to go through Gatka to get into the area. Teams like BlindedByWin and HQA, who went to Georgia Pole, they're sitting pretty right now.
This is one of the trickiest circles that players hate to see, especially at this stage in the game. The river leading out of Yasnaya effectively cuts phase number 2 in half, and teams are going to be forced to make that decision. Do we go north? Do we go south? Because a late transition to the opposite direction, well, it is going to be a bottleneck of destruction for any team that has to make the opposite rotation. Many teams right now favoring towards the southern side of things as we look at version 2 white entering off of that eastern side of the circle, exiting Yasnaya entirely, and now favoring on this trek towards that Severny Crossroads, which could be a very favorable position for them to pull up to, but they have to worry a few other teams here on the northern side of things, particularly going to be the Revenants.
Carnage just spotted out someone. Doesn't know it's Pittsburgh Knights yet, but we do. And this is going to be unfortunate if they try and press onto this one.
It's our head-to-head, Trid.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to mount up on the vehicles, but they don't know it's the head-to-head. They're not ready to make it dramatic for us, Phil. They're going to get on those vehicles and leave in a safe location, and they're making their choice on the 50-50. They're opting to go for the south side of this river split.
Yeah, and here's the thing as well. Pittsburgh Knights, we maybe need to pull up the map here to explain what Pittsburgh Knights' position is in. It's the cube compound, likely going to be the strongest position that Pittsburgh Knights could have in this circle, but Wildcard is trying to make that cross from south to north on this bridge just outside of the northeastern corner of Razak, and they're getting whittled away upon by the members of Nova. Illusion's now going to be under fire. One member already knocked.
The car's flipped a little bit. I think he's going to be able to get back on the road with this one, but they have to leave Ranger behind on the middle of that bridge, and it's just going to be a sacrificial lamb. Nova having this choke locked down. It's exactly as you prophesized, Phil. All these teams playing around the chokes and capitalizing upon them.
Yeah, Ranger's dead to rights. He's going to be flushed out of the game here in just a matter of seconds as he says his final goodbyes to match number 3. But as we continue to see around the map, the rotations continue to come in. Teams trying to at least hedge their bet. Will it be north? Will it be south? Or will phase number 3 continue to at least allow this dilemma to exist where the river stays 50-50, cutting this zone in half? Nova, though, making that rotation off the bridge now, going for a better position for their own.
I actually love Pittsburgh Knights' position. We do need
to
pull that
talk
up.
about it.
We do need to pull that up on the map. They're managing to lock down 2 of the chokes across the river, heading off to the north location. Now, Nova and Beowulf and the rest of the team, they're going over to shooting range well past it, but look where they're holding it down, right in the center, at the apex of 2 bridges.
Yeah, so this is a compound notoriously known as the Cube compound. It's the power position. It's legitimately the only power position that you can play off of when this type of circle is implicated. And yes, let's take a look, though, at the perspective of the Pittsburgh Knights, the area that they're covering right now. Should the circle go south, they have an immediate path, the quickest rotation from north to south across this bridge where Wi-Fi is currently guarding. You can see the Cube compound beautifully displayed right there. Monarch, 7, and Jagger holding on to it. And the Pittsburgh Knights are ready. If the circle goes north, they're already there. They can gatekeep the entirety of the server that has to come from south to north. It is such a strong compound that Wi-Fi is already spawning out. One of the members of the squad, Shoot to Win. He's going to be putting out a lot of pressure now.
And that circle's popped. They're playing still on on the edge of it, but it's going to pop over to the right-hand stand, still implicating both halves of that river. We need to cut back to see what Pittsburgh Knights are actually shooting at right now, because it's shoot to win, trying to take this forward, and they crossed over the bridge. I believe that's the first knock coming in, and shoot to win. It's not looking great for them.
Yeah, it's unfortunate when you're in shoot to win's position just outside of the circle on the southern side of that position that's being held by the Knights. You don't really have anywhere to go. A disengage is going to spell disaster for your team because you're wide out in the open. Thankfully, Psycho and Rafa, though, are rotating off of this entirely. They made the smart move, okay? Disengage as quick as possible. Leave whatever teammates you have to behind and keep the placement goal alive for your squad. Rafa and Psycho just bombing around. You can tell it's chaotic for them right now. They're just trying to do whatever they can to quickly rotate so that they're not wasting time, that they're not giving up some of the valuable positions left inside of the zone.
Pittsburgh Knights had all the fun they wanted at that cube compound. They're being proactive and heading more central now. They're keeping to the north of it. They might clash into version 2 white. They keep on their current path. Having a look at Hashirama and the boys, trying to get themselves into a position where they may have to cross the river, but they're in the area for now. That's all that counts. Tempo are in the area, but I don't think they're too concerned with this one. They're mounting up and going on for greener pastures.
Yeah, probably the least favorable position inside of this circle, right? They've got the water to play off of, and it's going to be at least a little bit difficult given how many other teams are posturing inside of Razak. But for Hokage, we'll continue to at least hold strong on the hill here outside of Ruins and try to look around their surroundings, pick up some information, put out some long-range shots. Hashirama with the VSS actually going to be finding one of the members of Lations Unidos from a distance over there near that Watertown location. Revo going to be knocked outside of this compound, completely exposed. Revo. A few more shots to come out, and he's going to be flushed out of the game. Sukasa's M416 picks up the kill.
That's unfortunate for them. AreYouScared going to stray places. Hang on a minute. Ulysses trying to go across the river. They don't know exactly where he is, but they're taking a few pop shots. One more shot should do the trick. If Ulysses rears his head at all, it's going to be taken off by Tobirama and the boys.
Well, he's going to have to. He does not have a rebreather. His breath will completely be whittled down here in just a few seconds. He's got a little bit of defilade, that island, a saving grace, at least for Ulysses, but also sort of just a stall. It's not going to give him much to work off of. He's got a wide river to continue to cross. Well, he's actually made landfall. That's going to be a safe position for him, but he's low on HP and is desperately in need of his teammates' help. His teammates, though, on the south side of Watertown, not going to be able to provide him that immediate assistance.
Hector going to be found out by Tanker. Blinded by Woods. Blinded by Woods? No, blinded by Win. Woods. It's actually going to take some damage here and get knocked down in an engagement. Arcs to follow as Pittsburgh Knights have taken on that fight on the northern island, the northern divide. So Ark's going to be flushed out by 7, so we'll get the kill confirmed on that one. Taking a lot of fire, Shishu dealing with Manny. He's just going to be taken out by Cow. Long distance with the headshots, gets that knock. Playing awfully close to Revenants right now. Goes up this hill. They may have some difficulty. Wi-Fi spotted out Cow, who's playing further back than the rest of AreYouScared. A 7 takes a fight with Maluma.
Both of these teams posturing on the hillside, just trying to avoid the other. Peralta taking a significant amount of damage as AreYouScared, 2 of the members in the prone position, trying to snake their way up the hill undetected. The other 2 members, TJ Tattoo and Cal, just holding up the rear. Espinosa tries to pull back, not going to be able to without taking damage, and is ultimately going to be knocked. He goes down to the likes of Mighty with the M416 as Wi-Fi is rolled up upon. He's got to do something here. He is not with his team, and he's trying to hold off whatever way he can. And when the Groza, he ends up knocking down Michael from HQA. Another one. The Groza absolutely shreds in this short-range opportunity, and Wi-Fi is capitalizing on it beautifully, but he has other threats of this HQA squad to deal with. QAing off in the distance is going to be looking to try to take down Wi-Fi.
It's not the only threat in this map right now. Biggest threat to them is the circle. It's hard shifted over to the northeast, forcing a lot of teams to move. Michael will finally be flushed out by Wi-Fi. Pittsburgh Knights coming into the area. There's more engagements coming in. You can see Angry and the rest of Spacestation Gaming off in the distance, trying to make their way through as Cal will make landfall into the circle.
Did he see him?
He's coming onto Zephan right now. He didn't see the down member, but here's Pittsburgh Knights. They're going to spray up onto this vehicle. Wi-Fi Taylor takes the shots onto Cal. Vishishu and the rest of the boys go through, but Mighty going to be falling out here, but Cal gets knocked by Monarch, trying to go through that path. Unsafe for them. The rest of AreYouScared have to cut their losses and keep going.
saying, we will carry on in your name. Monarch picks up the roadkill. The buggy has at least some body parts in front of it as Sam from Nova continues on. They've got to worry about the team of Spacestation Gaming off to the west of the compound that they are now holding. A little bit of hills for them to work off of. Nova's Sam trying to find that third-person perspective to catch out the members of Space Station, but they're going to be center circle here, Trid. Not too difficult for them to work off of.
Are you scared? They carried on that path. We saw them take bullets from the likes of Pittsburgh Knights. They then got finished off. They never made it to their final destination. Nova about to lose their heads, and they're not too careful. Edwin taking a lot of damage, plus the fall as he drops down to the ground for a safer position. Takes the damage, but not the knock. That's the right play here, as we now have a solo member of HQA, Kwang, taking a fight with Revenants, pops up a grenade, throws it into the distance, throws another one as well for good measure. He's trying to get a sweeping arc of explosions. First one won't find anyone. Hoping the second one will. The detonation comes in, gives a little bit of damage, but not enough to find a knock.
Certainly a lot of pressure being applied, though, on the Revenants as they try to recover off of this engagement. But as we've mentioned throughout this game, other teams are dangerously nearby to each other. They have to be aware of that third-party presence that continues to exist here in the mid to late game of game number 3. Tempo Storm, 2 players remaining, Spec and Nico. Nico now under the bridge, just holding on to whatever structure he can to possibly catch out some of the teams, just trying to inch their way forward. From the northern coast of Razak, spotting out Cream Esports. The grenade going to be prepped and ready, trying to get that area of effect damage out onto one of the members. It will be missing its mark, now alerting Kira and Karma of an enemy presence just to the south.
Hoping for that AoE though, Sam found Juicy with a grenade. They're sending over Nico first. They're going to have to pop a healing kit, and Spec's going to have to make the swim for it past Kira and Karma. This is not a good spot to be in. As soon as they pop up, they're going to get sprayed down. But Nico's been spotted out. He has to take cover under the bridge and avoid out these players that are just lurking on this arch like the trolls they are.
Well, he's got to come up for breath very shortly. One tick of him suffocating will drop him out of the game. Nico going down. Now Spec just trying to be the lone survivor for this Tempo Storm squad. Not going to be able to do so. And that is going to be Karma picking up the remaining kill onto Tempo Storm, taking them out in 13th position. Nova, though, now has to reposition off the compound. We saw them next to Space Station Gaming, quickly departing that and now trying to enter off of the southeastern corner. But they have a team gatekeeping them. It's going to be none other than Team Wildcard that sits off just a few meters to the northwest and looking right in their direction. Also combating against the members of Shoot to Win, and now Nova recognizes this. They're going to be pushing up very aggressively, bombing into the trees, setting up this mobile cover that could be very beneficial for them in this engagement.
Sorry, Sukasa, and probably Tobarama as well off the back of this. Oh, Lations Unidos now actually taking fire from 4 Hokage, looking for some vengeance as they're trying to spray down this member who's trying to pop as many meds as he can to stay alive. I don't think he's going to last much longer because he keeps getting tagged by the blue and by 4 Hokage. It's only a matter of time. I'll see you in the next life, Angel.
See ya, wouldn't want to be a Nova. Going to continue to spot out teams in these rotations, though. Anarchy under fire. That's 1 mark. That 2 members that will be dropped down and out to the squad of Nova. James bleeding out. Micro TT bleeding out. But their hopes and dreams are still alive because they've got a player inside of the center of the zone just trying to snake their way and continue to be alive. 9 going to be bleeding out as well. Have to be careful because Team Anarchy is in dire straits as we move in to the final stages of this game.
9's in the zone, but you've also got Killer playing Edge right now into the northwest. So now that he's gone down, solo player for Killer. Angel will finally die to that blue zone, unable to get in because he was being gate kept by the rest of 4 Hokage, who are about to crash onto Space Station Gaming if they're not too careful. We're on board with Jagger, who just got a molly kill, or a molly knock, onto a member of Revenants, I believe, as Vigilantes further up the hill. The rest of Pittsburgh Knights coming into position. One of our teams to watch have broken into the top 10, and they're in a good position to carry forth with this one.
Could we see a Pittsburgh Knights back-to-back finish on 2 separate maps? Well, wait and see, but certainly they are inside of the centralized area of the circle, but that is going to be a dangerous spot given how many teams will be collapsing on that area shortly. Blue zone, though, working its way in. Phase number 6 on the cusp here as Cream starts to pop up. Version 2 White, though, in HQA. Kuang, the solo player. We saw him do a lot of damage to these teams as that solo player. But what can he do now as he pops out to the southern side of this compound where 2 players of the squad are holding?
He's in the next circle, but only just... No, he actually has to move and go into cover behind the wall. Version 2 White can't get the angle to spot him, but they're okay right now. They're not too far away from the newly formed circle, which is a hard shift to the west. This is eyeing up to be a great game for Pittsburgh Knights. Nova, 4 Hokage, and Space Station Gaming need to go into this new circle. Kuang prone up a smoke to obscure the vision in that window to give him a greater chance of repositioning should he have to.
Pittsburgh Knights, you see this circle, you see them in a 2-2 split. They need to group up. There are going to be teams coming off of the East, especially a powerful team, the name of Nova, that'll be bombing in here in just a few seconds' time. But also on the western side of things, Revenants, HQA, version 2 White. And then from the south is going to be Spacestation Gaming. So keep your eyes on Pittsburgh Knights. How are they going to be able to work through this adversity that could be presenting itself here in a matter of seconds? Well, Spacestation Gaming, they've got to make that trek from south to north, and they have to face off against the members of Hokage that are on that exact same path.
I wonder if they can pull off a Misfits and take multiple engagements at the same time. Obviously, it's not ideal, but if they can exert that pressure, it's going to be useful for them. Here comes the bomb in from Nova into that circle. They've already been spotted out by Wi-Fi and Monarch. Immediately dismount. Grenade's going to go in nice and early over the top, popping as many as they can to get into Nova. The explosions come in. Nothing connects on them just yet. They're falling just short. And this car fortress they set up to themselves is now going to be expanded upon by the smokes. Grenade did land, dealing some damage, but no knocks come in. They've all gone prone to try and return fire against their aggressors.
That one grenade essentially did 50% damage to all 4 members of Nova. That was huge, but Nova was smart enough to start getting those smokes out, 6 to be exact, to provide them this concealment as the battle rages on down here to the south. You saw Spacestation Gaming in the kill feed. They were combating against the likes of Hokage, but now version 2 White has entered in as a third-party presence. Mega going to be bleeding out, just bad player to have to worry about, but certainly it is not a player to shy away from. They have to worry about this engagement, but Pittsburgh Knights also, Nova coming out of the smoke. They're playing hyper aggressive. They're trying to take down who has held the center position of this circle for so long.
7 was the first one to go down. Beowulf immediately trying to find the angle onto Wi-Fi, but they're playing around the smoke just the same as Nova is. It's really difficult to find a clear sight as Jagger will get the knock onto Edwin. Close the ranks of Nova and slow down the aggression coming out for them. Wi-Fi playing forward, changes up the angle to potentially get a flush. Cotto takes more damage from Jagger on this Overwatch position.
So you can tell that the Pittsburgh Knights are now completely taken their focus away from the western side of things and now focused it over towards the east with the push coming out from Nova. But what does that spell for the other solo players off on this western flank holding onto the edge, and possibly Space Station Gaming down to the south? Beowulf, he's trying to at least get the meds going here in this situation.
Pittsburgh Knights are still doing this 2-2 split and are able to exert the pressure. The other 2 members are watching the western front. Jagger and Monarch are dealing with Revenants and others as Cotto opening fire onto Wi-Fi. So they're trying to pull this one off. 2 squads taking on a greater engagement. Jagger and Monarch now have the next circle should it collapse onto them. So at least they have an easy retreat path should they have to.
So now you're going to see that other 2-2 split, the 2-2 duo that's on the eastern side of things now outside of the circle, quickly try to reunite with the other members of Pittsburgh Knights inside. But Nova going to be throwing out the zoning pressure. The Molotovs will be raining down on top of Wi-Fi and his teammates. A few steps in the wrong direction and you might find yourself going down in flames as Wi-Fi tries to work with this position. Behind the blown up, UAS dropped down to about 10 HP. It is going to be disastrous if Wi-Fi gets spotted out, but the Groza is prepped and ready to spray down on top of Nova when they have to make the push.
And Nova trying to fan out as wide as they can to get the good angles on the cover that's being used by them. Now that Pittsburgh Knights aren't at full strength, they wouldn't be able to deal with a 4v2 unless they pull off some amazing instances of guns play. But look at Sixless snaking himself in here to third party this engagement should it go wrong. As the rest of the space station go for the crash, they're going straight into Jagger and Monarch, and it's gone disastrous for Carnage, who's already been knocked down onto his knees. They're already with 3 members. They're now down to 2 active participants. And Nova going for the push.
Here's the push wrapped around the northern side of where the Pittsburgh Knights are currently holding the damage to be applied onto Wi-Fi. He's going to be knocked immediately. Now 2 members left for this Pittsburgh Knights squad. Jagger and his teammate far off in the distance, but Sam going to be spotting him out around the right side of the tree. Now just Monarch to have to worry about. Pittsburgh Knights are falling apart at the seams, trying to hold on to this centralized position. And Nova continues to push on. Pressure applied. That's going to be Monarch caught out and taken out of the game. Knights leave in game number 3 in 5th position.
This is Nova's game to lose right now. They've taken out the leaders. They need to recover their health nice and quickly and get themselves into the circle. Carnage and Angry have taken too much damage from taking on these additional squads. Nova are going to move into position, but Sixless has found the first knock onto Beowulf, and they're going to put the momentum of Nova back down into the basement. They're unable to get up into the position they want to hold, but Carnage and Angry still too low to be active in this fight.
So 3 of our deadliest teams have made it into the final 3 placements of game number 3. Revenants, though, with only a solo player to fight for their name, to hide back and let this battle erupt between Space Station Gaming and Nova. Grenades will start to fly. Sixless on top of Kato, and Edwin, that's going to be a double knock coming out. A huge grenade for Space Station, and now they're going to be aggressing upon this. They know they've got the advantage, and Angry already popping up out of the prone position, trying to get more centralized inside of this circle. Nova has to make the ultimate decision. Do we try to res? Do we try to get our teammates back up, or play off the position?
They've leveled this out perfectly here. Sixless and Space Station Gaming putting Nova into the disadvantaged position. They hold the majority of players left in this circle. 3 for them, 2 for Nova and the solo player of Revenants. Vigilante hiding off in the distance. Sam is down in cover, not going for any reses. He does not want to expose himself as he wants to try and have an advantageous game in this one. But Beowulf is just going to bleed out over the side. Grenades coming in. They know exactly where that member is to flush. But Vigilante off to the side, looking to play spoiler on it all and claim the victory for Revenants.
It looked like Vigilante had dropped the gun on his back, likely dropped the backpack as well, to stay as hidden as possible. Beowulf going to be flushed out of the game. Space Station Gaming continues to hold the dominant advantage here. It's a 3v1v1 situation, and Vigilante is going to have to likely move a few meters in just a few seconds. But the shots come out. Sam going to be spotted out, trying to spray down with the Grows and not going to be able to. A Sixless takes him out of the game with the Scar. Now a 3v1. Will Revenants be able to combat against the 3-man advantage that Space Station Gaming holds?
Incredibly unlikely. A Squire, he may catch Angry off guard, but nothing else here, because Sixless will just spray him down the second he exposes himself. Next circle, the move will force him away and out of this position behind the rock, as he's already nudged in. He'll have to tank some blue just to get into the area. Like you already pointed out, he's dropped his resources. These are the best time he could possibly be to try and spray him down. He can see them, but he won't take the shots. What's he waiting for? Does he know there's additional teams in the area?
I don't know what he's waiting for. Maybe he's waiting for more members to show up, trying to get a 3-piece, but it's not worth his time.
They know!
Oh, come on, Vigilante. You had such a good opportunity. You had him in your sights with a third-person perspective. We would have loved to have seen you capitalize on it. But nonetheless, the second-place finish coming out for the Revenants is good. But even better is Space Station Gaming with 11 kills to their name and a chicken dinner in game number 3.
I think once he missed the 3-piece, he was like, I'm not going to win now. I'll just let them find me.
I wonder if his teammates were just like, Vigilante, what are you doing? Take the kills. Those are points, right?
Yeah, those are points.
You know, we did see one of our first point denies of the tournament yesterday by the members of Misfits against Tempo Storm. But again, was it worth it? Is it essentially something that you need to do at this stage in the game? But spray them down. Get the kill points. Those are points that you can rack up that you let on the battleground.
I don't know, because even in that position, say for example we had 3 members right in front of him. We were hoping for him to try and do something. Maybe he gets 2 knocks at best. I don't think he gets a knock and flush out that one to even get the kill points.
Yeah,
so
I mean, it could have gone either way. I think it was likely he might have gotten the flush. He had the rock cover to work off of. It was such a sneaky position that he found himself in that Space Station Gaming didn't even look there. Ultimately, once they cleared out the rest of the circle, that's when they dipped into the blue zone.
And he did go on a bit of a hunt to find that one. But we're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we're going to bring you our final map of the evening. Do not go anywhere.
welcome back everyone to day number 2 of the semifinals for the North American PUBG Mobile Club Open. My name is Esquire, joined here by Trid. We just saw game number 3 on Erangel, played out a huge finish coming in right there. And what a game, Trid. That was exciting. We had that rough circle for these teams to play off of.
It was a little bit rough for Marvis. Didn't quite get his distances right on this one, staying too close to that grenade and getting himself knocked in a pivotal engagement between Tempo and Ignite Gold. And Spec was able to clear it up nicely. And then it came down to who was going to peek and play chicken first. The sprint over to the room. Nico holds his own. As you can see, the Queep goes for a grenade pull. He pops his head out the corner, immediately dropped by Nico, and he wins out an early engagement for Tempo Storm.
The Battle of Pachinki was won by Tempo Storm, and although not confidently, they can say they are the kings of Pachinki. But we'll see if Game 4 holds the same battle for us. It's a matter of time before we find that out. But a massive amount of huge plays came out of this final few zones that we saw here. Pittsburgh Knights certainly the center of attention. This side on the wrong side of attention, at least as far as Nova looking down the sights goes.
Monarch and the rest of Pittsburgh Knights, they valiantly held off Nova for as long as they could with a 2-2 split. Here comes the hand of God from Sixless over the top. Kobe for accuracy right on top of Cotto and Edwin. And there's the double knock coming in from a singular grenade, basically turning that entire final circle into the hands of Sixless. And you can see that game-winning moment on your screen now.
Yeah, that was a Kobe grenade, but certainly a John Elway throw. Boy, was there some distance on that bad boy, but a huge win nonetheless. Game number 3 in the books. We're moving into the 4th and final game of the day. And well, it's a repeat. Back to Erangel we go, and it's going to be interesting, like I said, to see if those contested areas on the map continue to be so. But let's take a look at the standings as we enter into this 4th and final game. The bottom part of the leaderboards here, Ignite Gold still sitting down at the bottom. 7 points. I believe they might have had 4 going into that game, so it would pick up at least a few points. It's not bad. Again, this is just the first day for Ignite Gold.
They got 2 kills from their skirmish with Tempo Storm, so that's where they caught some points from. But we're looking further up. I mean, Ace Esports, they'd already played. They're not playing today, and they're still pretty low on the leaderboards. As we move up into 9 to 16, we see the points start to get a little bit closer, but still a wide gap between 9th and 16th. It just starts to get congested a little bit from 12 to 9.
Yeah, if the leaderboards continue to stay this close around those drop positions, 16th and below, well, it's going to be an exciting week number 2 next week, but we've got more PUBG Mobile this weekend. Here's the top half of the leaderboards, or the top third of the leaderboards, rather. Team Anarchy in 8th, Cream Esports, you continue to go up. Spacestation Gaming, though, with that massive Game 3 victory. Well, they've now passed Misfits. Nova passed them as well, and that's pretty exciting, Trid.
But with 3 extra games.
Hey, yo, come on.
What I want to focus more on is the fact that Spacestation Gaming has a 28-point lead over Nova with the same games played. More placement kill points and more kill points. So that's what I'm really looking at. We need to start comparing the teams who have the same number of matches. Because Misfits Gaming, yeah, sure, they're currently in 3rd place, but they've got 3 more games to play to catch up to the current position. We're going to jump straight into our game very shortly. We've already told you it's Erangel, and I want to look at a few hotspots we're going to have on the map. Keep an eye on Pachinki and see if we have Tempo and Ignite Gold drop there again. Keep an eye on Milta, and let's also see who's dropping on that military island to begin with. But no more speculation. Let's just jump straight into it. Erangel coming on your screens.
And here we go, a different playing path than we saw in game number 3. Not so favorable for these teams, at least relative to the previous playing path. Favored up here towards the northern side of things. A stretch down to Sosnovka for some of our teams might be exactly that, a stretch. Well, Novo might be not seeing Nova this time. It's going to be a far parachute for that squad should they decide to go there. But we are already seeing Wildcard hop out. This is a squad that stretches as far as possible, avoiding that conflict around the farm and Milta area and stretching all the way over to Milta Power. But Cream Esports jumped out right up on top of Wildcard. Looks like they're heading in the exact same direction.
Heading all the way down to the south, and we already see Spacestation Gaming heading towards Yasnaya. They like to call it at home. Revenants does the exact same thing as well. So we're going to have that split that came in on the last series, the last map more accurately. Teams are struggling to get down to the southern island. I believe you can see Nova still in the mix around the Milta area, trying to get over to Novo. But it's Wildcard and Cream who are dropping around Milta Power, and that's going to force an early engagement between the two.
Yeah, certainly not a lot of loot destinations. The compound's spread out if you're not landing at big or mini Milta Power. So definitely have to keep our eyes on that. But here it is, first phase of game number 4 going to be popping up. And the river, once again, going to be implicated. A little more favored here towards the northern side of that river. But again, north of Severny lies a lot of water still in play as version 2 white. They're in the vehicle. They've caught out some of the members of Nova. And that's exactly what you do. I'm having flashbacks to the movie Tremors where you hide up on top of the rock so that the ground worms don't eat you up. And version 2 white, well, they said our opportunity to get roadkill, to make those big highlight plays at the very start of the game has now passed. And on to farm we go to find that much needed loot.
Having a look where other teams have dropped. Ignite Gold still went to Pachinki. You've got Team Anarchy on the thing, but Zeus is running down onto Cream, defenseless there as Zeus will be able to take out a member of Cream Esports. Munoz getting flushed out nice and early in mill to power, so that hotly contested area really popping off nice and early.
I'm kind of confused, or at least concerned. Confused is the wrong word. Definitely concerned for the members of Cream. They're separated off, 2 to the north and 1 down to the south. Karma all alone. But popping back over here to Melta, it's going to be none other than Shoot to Win that has taken this up as their home. Trid, they're going to be at least comfortable here. Nova, a little bit off to the north, not going to be entering into the city just yet, but they are lingering just south of Shelter, possibly still trying to decide where to move next.
Have you got eyes on Tempo Storm? I'm trying to figure out where they are. I think they dropped Pachinki again.
Yes, they absolutely
did. They did it with Ignite Gold and Lations Unidos in the area, which are 2 of those chasing tail teams.
Yeah, it looks like Ignite Gold is a little bit north, just south of that water town. But Tempo Storm has found themselves another team to combat against, and it's the same type of challenge. Hopefully, Tempo Storm can keep all of their members alive and not lose a lot in the process, like they did in game number 3. Maybe thought they secured it. Maybe thought they had the dominant force to show that they are the kings of Pachinki. But unfortunately, their reign is being contested once again.
You come at the king, you best not miss, and that's exactly what they're going to try and do here. Was able to deal with Nova, so version 2 white and Nova having a fight at the moment over by Farm Shelter area on the southeast side of that circle. Mega taking the knocks on the Edwin, so that Beowulf and Edwin on their knees right now. We need Nova to call in their reinforcements. They've actually left the area though. They're going further away. Sam is shooting off to the south, cutting their losses. Nova going out incredibly early, or at least taking detrimental force this early on.
Yeah, it's unfortunate to see, not just if you're a fan of Nova, but also as a spectator of this PUBG Mobile esport, because with this plane, Nova wasn't able to get all the way down to Novo, but back here in Pachinki, the action is erupting. Angel going to be dropped down almost immediately by the members of Tempo Store, but Tempo has been traded out as well. Clone is going to be knocking down Chica, flushing them out of the game, but the action continues to erupt as Angel gets dropped down, Revo gets dropped down. 2 of the remaining members for Lations Unidos to combat against the storm that is pushing into their compound.
Clonus better not become a clownus right now. He can be in a position to take out the rest of Tempo Storm. Just holds his nerve. You've got Lost at the bottom of the stairs. Someone trying to get an angle across the way. Just try and shoot into that top floor. Mateus throwing the grenade, but they're locked in a confined room. Lost, Nico, and Spec all surrounding the area. Lost taking a little bit of damage as the rest of Lations Unidos trying to jump out of the window and get themselves to a safe position because they're being swarmed by Tempo.
It's funny, this is a different building than Tempo faced off against the likes of the other squad in game number 3, but the exact same layout. They've exited out of the building. Lations Unidos trying to get the flank positions on the members of Tempo, but Lost comes around the corner of their shack and sprays down on top of Clonus. He's going to be flushed out of the game. Now 1 remaining member of Lations Unidos, and that's going to be all she wrote. Matias gets flushed out of the game. Lations Unidos out in 16th place here, and Tempo Storm says exactly what you did, Trid. You come at the king, you better not miss, or we'll take your head.
Well, yeah, they may have taken the head of Lations Unidos, but the king did miss a leg from it. You've just seen that we've lost Chica from this one, so already knocked down to 3 members. It does harm the potential to get that first place finish, but it does not disqualify them from doing so.
No, certainly not. Don't count Tempo Storm out with 3 members remaining. If they lose any more, again, the disparity between 2 and 4 players is much greater. A lot harder to watch those flanks, but Nova still trying to do whatever they can to combat Sam, the only player left, the insurance policy. He's got to do whatever he can to showcase that he's a bigger force than what he actually is. You call it grandstanding, you call it peacocking, and he was effectively able to do so here out of this compound, sending version 2 white on a northwestern rotation.
Yeah, but if you're a solo player, do you really want to be lighting up a vehicle
Absolutely.
full of multiple members? Do you really
Absolutely.
want to when they're that close? Because they can just go, hang on a minute, let's just get out the vehicle and start shooting you down yourself.
Absolutely, because the goal is that you make it seem like you're a bigger force than you actually are. You want to put out the pressure to send them off the compound entirely. Sometimes it backfires. Sometimes maybe version 2 White says, guys, that's not a lot of firepower coming out. That's a solo player. Let's take him down. It can definitely backfire on you.
Bit of a gambit.
Yeah, it is. But definitely more often than not, you see players execute that type of strategy, trying to just force anyone off of the compound. And more than likely than not, at the early stages of the game like this, a team is going to pull off unless they're ultra confident in their skill. And version 2 White, they've shown us they don't want to take every engagement. They're not necessarily here for the kills. They're trying to get the placement points.
The circle is going to start forcing the hands. The blue is starting to come in and force it further north. Rozhok seems to be the hotbed as the center, and Maluma should really go back to driver's ed. He keeps crashing into vehicles and crashing into terrain and bus stops. Basically, he would have had his license taken away.
Yeah, and if it wasn't taken away, we're going to take it away for you. But over here at the gas station, Revenants have taken up at least a little bit of shelter, dropping Espinoza. Will be Wildcard off in the distance. Ranger separated off from his other teammate, who is now wrapping around the south, trying to get a flank onto the gas station. Definitely to be had, though, by Ranger, where he will be able to utilize that third-person perspective. But here comes Rain, bombing in the U.S. on the southern side of the gas station. Zeus and Illusions in tow.
Vigilante wrapping around, trying to stay in cover from Ranger's fire, but as the wide angle's coming in, and Vigilante's going to be punished. Not entirely, though, as he gets back inside the gas station, able to recover the smokes obscuring the vision. Rain coming onto Peralta from the flank, throwing out the grenade, but now he has to get his gun out too late. Rain's going to deal with him quite handily, so that's one knock coming in. 3 active members for Revenants to take this fight. As more grenades come out, Rain so close to pushing into this one. Weakened teammates, but they have recovered. There's the gunfire coming into Vigilante. He needs to find one more as he sprays through. Going for the recovery on the outside. The spray comes in. Tanker dealing with it from the angle. Rain's going to deal with him. 1 man remaining for Revenants. He hides around the RV, but the flanks are too good from Wildcard. They're going to clean this up Let's clean it up nicely and flush out the entirety of Revenants.
Yeah, as soon as any team breaches into this gas station, it becomes incredibly difficult to hold. And Revenants really felt that right there. I mean, there aren't a lot of areas inside of here to hide out. Grenades can be extremely detrimental to your squad, as well as the flank positions that Wildcard showcased beautifully in that engagement. Version 2 White pulling off of this as the blue zone finishes its shrink around phase number 1, and the ever so telling phase number 2 shift will be showing us where we will be going in a matter of about 30 seconds.
Give me the shift down to, I'm going to say southwest. Give me that one this
you want
time.
You want the river to 50-50 again,
I want
Trid.
the river to 50-50, but we're not going to get it. It's more like a 90-10.
Yeah, 90-10, but a significant thing to take away from this circle is a lot of water in play. Certainly some in the river leading out of Yasnaya, but a significant amount north of the shores of Severny. So these teams need to be aware of that. The play area going to be smaller than they're used to in phase number 2, and we're already starting to see a lot of rotations coming in. Shoot to win off of the far east, making that rotation up towards the north. BlindedByWin, though, with the farthest rotation of any team.
Nico and the boys going mobile in the US as they convoy across the range as they want to get into the central position of the circle. Need to get further up where they want to lock down a favorable position to convoying in. Looking on the outside, BlindedByWin are being chased by the blue right now. Need to get themselves into that circle. Nova taking the long rotation. It's just Sam still holding the line for them. Shoot to win in the nearby area. That's why Sam's going a little bit wider on this one to make sure that he doesn't get spotted out. Tempo are moving into the middle or getting close to move into the middle of this circle. They're looking at, they've got Carnage right in front of them.
Yes, this is an interesting position. Tempo has a lot of options to choose from. Unfortunately, most of those options have already been occupied. Hearing these shots will be sending them back to Severny, and all things considered, it's wide open. So Tempo will be finding at least a safe haven here in phase number 2. Space Station, though, they've got the high ground position, at least as it relates to phase number 2, the highest point of contact that they could possibly get here inside of the warehouse just southeast of Severny. But another team has rolled up off to the east of where they're currently holding. It's none other than the team of Anarchy. Micro TT, the rest of the crew trying to have another huge performance here in game number 4, and the shots are already coming out. Pot shots certainly, but the pressure is being applied.
We're making contact for now. There's a little bit of distance between them, so it wouldn't surprise me with all the cover that's enabled by both teams. Still, just checking on Sam, making the wide rotation. He's gone all the way to the northern coast at this point to come in north of Stalbar, just to get in by himself. Cream Esports coming in from the east to enter into Severny. They're mobile right now. May dismount a little bit earlier just get into favorable position. But now let's take a look at AreYouScared. They're coming in from the west, just past shooting range right now to head towards Severny. There is a crate on their path that has been spotted out by Shishu, but it's a different question whether AreYouScared commit to having a look inside.
Hokage currently holds on to one of the more powerful positions inside of the circle. It just so happens to be center circle, but it's also known as the crossroads south of Severny. That's where they're going to be holding his wild card postures over here on this side of the circle. Some teams will be rotating around the northern side of them and actually crashing into this compound. Going to be version 2 white. The shots are coming out. They're going to be sent off packing. A few lucky connections will be popping them out. Make that one, make that two members of version 2 white that end up getting knocked out of the vehicle. Maluma and Bad Player will be going down.
Unlucky fellas, go next, I guess. Oh wait, you can't. This is the final map of the day. We'll see it in another opportunity then. Shishu now taking fire from Angry, will get knocked by Carnage ultimately, and the flush is coming out. AreYouScared put on the back foot.
No monkey paw in the world will bring those players of version 2 white back to life, as AreYouScared is now going to be under fire by the members of Hokage. Toby Rama finding a nice M416 spray onto the likes of Cal. Will be dropping him down and flushing him out of the game as the other members of AreYouScared try to seek shelter wherever they can find it, and it's going to be in the name of a shack on the eastern side of the crossroads. This is what I was talking about, Trid. Look at the split, the 3-1 for the members of Hokage. They have an ultimate choke point. The crossfire will be insane, but it's ultimately going to be shifted out of circle by the virtue of this phase 3 hard shift over to the eastern side of things.
The Lord is shining his light on Sam, giving him an easy path into that next circle.
What you like to see if you're a solo.
Yeah, if you're all by a solo, it's fine. He's giving mercy right now. Manny and the rest of BlindedByWin, they're already in there as well. Version 2 white, shoots away in cream. Team Anarchy and Spacestation Gaming potentially playing Gatekeeper on the border regions, as can Wildcard. There's a lot of teams who are having to make the migration in, and they're all pulling the trigger early.
We saw one of these circles in South America earlier today. Didn't end up sitting around on Stalber, but another vehicle engagement has popped off. Two of our top teams from this lobby are going to be sending shots back and forth between one another. A UAS to a Dacia as Carnage continues to look on, not worrying about Tempo Storm anymore, and now fully focused on finding a prime position inside of the game. But no, Spacestation Gaming will be losing members. It's that crossroads area. Toby Rama and the rest of Hokage finding the kills.
Nico doing good work there to find Jagger, just going across the horizon on that vehicle. He's going behind the rock, and there's going to be the flush coming in as well, picking up some kills. Carnage returns fire on 7. Pittsburgh Knights laid down as a solo player right there in that corner. So Carnage and Sixless going to be able to get some damage. They're the last 2 for Spacestation Gaming, so they need to stay alive. Carnage is going to hold this angle for now, get on top of the rock, and there might be a reposition coming in from his comrade.
Another consistent finish for Spacestation Gaming here in game number 4 of day 2. Could be huge for them in terms of what it means on the leaderboards as we move into day number 3. Tomorrow, this is going to be the end of it for Spacestation Gaming for week number 1, but certainly they have a lot of time in front of them and a lot of game to be played here as we close out the day. HQA's Michael. I feel like we always see Michael as a solo player, going to be pushing up now. He's got his teammates a little bit down to the south off of his current position, but he's ultimately going to be trying to rotate back to them and away from the likes of Space Station. 7
needs to be really cautious of Yife, because if he pushes forward and doesn't unaware of 7's position, they could clash right there and open it up for Space Station Gaming to then aggress and pincer HQA in between 2 conflicts. They're pushing themselves more over to where Yife is, but it's all about whether 7 reveals himself. I don't know if he's operating. I think if he is actually operating as a solo player for Pittsburgh, so it's advantageous for him to keep his head down on this one. But Yife is just going to start going through the area. Qang's there as well. 7's been knocked, so he's not working as a solo player for now. The flush comes in to confirms it. Space Station Gaming now only have to deal with 1 player alone, and the fire is already coming in. Sixless has been down by Qang, and that means the aggression is going to come in from HQA as they go for the flush and the knockout of Space Station Gaming.
So Carnage has to make the tough choice. Do I go for the res? And it looks like he's going to have at least enough of an opportunity to do so. Cover of the rock, 3 seconds remaining until Sixless is back on his feet. And well, the numbers have now doubled again in the favor of Space Station Gaming. 2 members back alive and an immediate disengage for those 2 players. Trying to get back, trying to get the meds, and maybe just reset off of this. I don't necessarily think they want to take the engagement, but they certainly don't want to shy away from any easy kill points should the opportunity present.
Next circle pops a little bit more central. HQA and Space Station Gaming, the only ones being implicated. Everyone else is going to start heading their direction. So it's in HQA's advantage. It's in their favor to have won that fight and cleared out 7, because now they have some cover of buildings to use in a central location at this next circle.
And Space Station Gaming essentially says with their 2 members alive, oh boy, we are likely going to be seeing some teams come into the north, and they need to be aware of that. Teams already bombing in. It's going to be the members of Tempo Storm off the western flank of where Spacestation Gaming's 2 remaining members are holding, but Anarchy off to the western edge of this phase number 4, going to be spotting out the members of Hokage, taking some nice shots, finding a few connections with the SKS. The 7.62 rounds ringing true for this member of Anarchy. Player number 9 continues to frag out and just apply the pressure, sending the members of Hokage a little bit south and keeping control of this compound on the edge.
Just going to exert some pressure, playing gatekeeper on the newly formed circle. Hokage are in the area now. They're in cover away from that position as well. There's that little area that HQA have carved out for themselves. They've got a couple of shacks to play with and a little bit of divot in terrain, so not the worst place to hold, but they can get enveloped by the high ground surrounding it and cause some difficulties for them.
Still looking at this hillside that could be one of the final scenes of battle for this game. Carnage still holding on, trying to get some information. Pittsburgh Knights will be flying in here around the northeastern side of the zone. A few teams already taking up control of these eastern edges of the zone. He's going to have to be very careful as Wi-Fi pulls up, exits the vehicle. The solo player for Pittsburgh Knights trying to make small moves. No big moves for him just yet. 14 teams still alive, 42 players is not when you want to be going out.
Shoot to Win are already opening up onto the squad. It's up on the high ground. It's Shoot to Win fighting against Ignite Gold right now. Nico and Tempo taking fire. The return fire comes in. That should have been an engagement that could have been won by Wi-Fi, but unfortunately Pittsburgh Knights are going to go out at the hands of Nova. No, Tempo. Was it Nova or Tempo?
Tempo.
Tempo as they go in around the circle. They have to move in. Here's Martin moving in, try and save his team. Lopez has already been knocked down. The first aid is going to come in. He's far enough away from the vehicle, or at least in cover from the explosive, to not take the damage away from that as he heals back up. BlindedByWin aggressing onto Martin, holding a good angle for now. You can see Ignite Gold coming into the area as well. May come up behind BlindedByWin and play spoiler on this engagement.
Certainly in phase number 4, all teams need to be aware of their surroundings. Nico with a nice M416 shot, a finish onto Rafa. I believe 1 member left for the Shoot to Win team, and they're in a bad spot. Spec going to be knocked down. Nico has to worry about if he's going to be able to get a res onto his fallen comrade, but Martine and Psycho continue on this push, trying to be the saviors of placement for Shoot to Win. With 13 teams still remaining, you're not going to be walking away with a lot of points. 3 to be exact if you go out here in 13th position. Nades coming out. It's going to be smoke concealment, just trying to apply for Martin, giving him something to work off of as he makes this rotation down to the south to try to enter on the eastern side of things. Not going to be enough. BlindedByWin's Hector spots him out and takes him down with the M416.
For the most part, this is a very forgiving circle of squad. Not much has changed on this one. As it's coming in, it's just going to be able to let that blue zone come in now, and once it's in there, we'll see the next phase pop on it, and that'll be the real test here. There's still 13 teams alive in this circle, but there's a lot of space to play with and a lot of cover to play around, more importantly. That next phase that pops could definitely change that. Rain getting a nice knock onto Hashirama and onto Tobirama as well, looking for more as they were carrying in that hut. Just going to knock down 3 of them. 1 member stood up for Hokage in that tiny shack. None of them are close enough in grenade range, though, so they won't be able to get a nice yeet of a grenade to finish them all off, but they keep applying the pressure to Hokage.
Yeah, legitimately the saving grace for this Hokage squad. They're saying, guys, at least there's enough room around us to where we can't get nades thrown in, but at the same time, we have to rotate out of this shack, and all eyes are on us, and with us losing our armor, losing our helmets in the process, by those shots coming out, well, they have to figure something out. This next shift, though, is going to be at least a deadly one at that. I think we can safely say the boiling point is about to pop off. Tempo Storm, though, going to be approached by Psycho. Tries to spray down Lost. Almost able to get the knock, but unfortunately, the shot's connected by Lost AKM, and out they go.
I could barely see his HP bar after that engagement. He was so close to getting the knock himself. Speaking of getting knocked, Hokage, not able to get out of the shack yet. There's Illusions coming in. Michael's going to get involved onto Lost across the map, and then Carnage is also dealing with Kuang, but Wildcard's pretty good. They got their foot on the neck of Hokage right now. They just need to apply a little bit more pressure as the smoke dissipates without replacement. I mean, it's just easier to get those knocks.
Yeah, this is a trying time for the members of Hokage. There's essentially nothing you can do in that position. They likely don't have the smokes. You saw a few come out to try to get the reses off on their teammates, but their vehicles are being disabled, and they continue to get knocked left and right. It's shooting fish in a barrel. No monkey paw can save these members. And Trin, I'm going to continue to reference that dang monkey paw as much as possible throughout this broadcast. best. You better believe it as the spray continues to come out from Zeus's M416, but popping back over here, Spacestation Gaming. Remember, they already lost 2 members, but they're popping off in this engagement on the Team Anarchy. Molotov's being prepped, trying to create some zoning pressure just to the north of where these members of Space Station are holding on.
4 Hokage are going up and down more than a meathead doing squats at the gym right now, Esquire. They just cannot get a sustained position and stay alive. It's just, they're at the mercy of Wildcard. And if you look further north, you've got AreYouScared and Team Anarchy up there trying to fire more shots onto them. And this entire area is being locked down. TJ Tattoo is now going to be sprayed down by Zephan up on this high ground with the members of HQA still able to hold on to that position as they start to make that rotation into the next circle.
8 teams remaining, 22 players alive, and well, it's all going to be coming down to this. Who can say at the end of day number 2 that we picked up the final win? Cream Cheto going to be spotted out. Zyphon with a nice spray down, going to be at least taking down one of the members of this Cream Esports team, but other enemies to worry about. Finding another knock here, going to be going down. Karma just trying to stay alive with a sliver of HP. Thankfully, they've got the car cover to work off of, but will it be enough? The guns continue to train in their direction.
All right, finally, the battle of 4 Hokage is over. Wildcard have dealt with them handily as the area comes in and closes on the circle. Version 2 White looking to get in onto this one, but Karma spraying down at HQA. We'll get a couple of shots on Michael. Yifei is very close to this one. I'm surprised he hasn't returned the fire sooner as he presses up onto the vehicle. Going in with the Uzi, wants the spray, and he's playing so close to Karma. Will he go left? Will he go right? Either way, he has to breach through the smoke to make this happen, and he's waiting for the Overwatch to come in from his team to guarantee his safety as the pressure keeps being applied to Karma.
Again, trading is so important, and that's exactly what Yifei is waiting for. You saw the tracers come in off of his backside. He's got the support, but he's not pushing up on this. He doesn't want to go out of sight of his teammates and get flushed by Karma in the process. But now he knows the grenades are flying. The smoke's trying to come out. He doesn't find the connections on the Karma. Karma completely concealed on the opposite side of the US and continues to evade the shots coming out of Yifei's gun. A little damage being applied, ultimately going to be finding the flush on the Karma. Out goes Cream Esports in 7th position, and HQA picks up their 9th kill of game number 4.
Speaking of going out, Spacestation Gaming just got lit up by Wildcard. They won't be joining everyone in that final circle. Wildcard have Ranger out in the forefront, going for the scout. They're going to pass by 9, who has to let them go straight past them, waving him on. He's a solo player right now. He can't rear his head and get involved in this action. So it's down to Ignite Gold, HQA, and Wildcard Gaming. This could be big for Ignite, a team that's sitting right at the bottom right now. They're going to get some serious points this game if they can break into the top 3.
So Ignite has secured at least a 4th place position. That will net them from placement alone 16 points. That's more than double the points than they currently racked up into game number 4. Exactly that huge trade if Ignite Gold can continue to push, but they've already done enough to at least say, guys, we racked up some points. We need to come back stronger in the remaining days.
They're in a good spot right now, actually. They've got a high ground position. They may have to move with the next circle, but they're able to exert pressure on the HQA and onto Wildcard Gaming, but Michael's doing a better job of it. He gets 2 knocks down. Ranger, Zeus, feeling the hurt up from this high ground position HQA is holding on to, especially with Michael's gun choice right now and the resources he has to boot. Sitting on level 2s across the board, but he's got himself some first aid kits. Finally, Zephan's been knocked down. Wasson has some fire returned back onto him, so he takes cover and looks to heal up. You don't have to rear your head too much.
Player number 9 from Team Anarchy going to be bombing into the western side of the zone, safely able to
secure. Took out Illusions.
Yeah, takes out Illusions in the process. Pretty insane, but ultimately going to be taken down as Wildcard spots him on the backside of the rock and takes them down. Out goes Team Anarchy. 3 teams now remaining. HQA versus Ignite Gold versus Wildcard, and this could be Ignite Gold's game to win here as they look down the hills onto the likes of HQA and Wildcard.
I'm looking to see where the next circle pops here, Phil. That could dictate whether IGN can walk away with their first map win and hopefully get themselves in a good position. But already, Fire's going to be taken down by Qrang, getting the knock on. Wasson is in position to help, so I wouldn't write them off entirely yet. Zephan's also fighting with Wildcard right now, taking down Rain, so it's a solo player for them.
Yeah, it's a triangular engagement once again. All 3 teams are engaged on each other, and that makes it even harder for these teams to move. Everyone essentially has to reposition so slightly.
Not too bad, though. I think the hardest reposition comes in the form of HQA. Ignite Gold and Wildcard are okay for now. Wildcard especially, they're just basically on border right now. So it's about to clear, which is going to expose HQA and a lot of the sightlines from IGN. They're more focused on spraying down to Wildcard right now, but they can't get those attacks onto IGN. They're starting to mount up. Wasson getting in the vehicle with the rest of them, but Michael's going to take him down. I think that's a huge miss play from Ignite Gold right now, but Marvis returns fire and gets a knock onto Qang. One knock for one knock, 3 active players for each.
I mean, I respect what they were trying to do. They were trying to create the mobile cover. Unfortunately, HQA's shots are too strong, but here it is. Wildcard's range spots out the down onto Qang, tries to flush him out, not able to find the fatal damage, but a lot of pressure being applied. Another knock coming out. HQA continues to take casualties, but now Wildcard is being traded back upon. One player remains on the Wildcard squad, and it's going to be Zeus, as nades now come up on top of the rock where Rain was knocked by a different squad. Ignite Gold going to be spraying down. Fi has been rezzed.
This is perfect for Ignite Gold right now. You've seen a knock come down again in their favor. Zephan, Michael, and Yefe are still playing. They actually got the kill onto there. HQA are missing a member now. IGN are the only full-strength squad. Zeus finds the angle onto Fi and starts turning this in momentum. This could go any way. Zephan actually gets the kill confirmed, leveling out the squads as well. This triangular engagement is anyone's to take.
Absolutely insane plays from Wildcard. The fact that he was able to spot that head through the grass, insane shots. Some of the best shots I think that we've seen in this tournament, but now Wildcard continues to do so. Zeus going to be spraying down onto the likes of Michael and the rest of his squad from HQA, disabling the vehicle. Smart play though, but they need to blow it up. It's still dangerously close to providing the AoE damage, but Ignite Gold continues to frag out. Headshot on the Zeus. Rain going to be left as a solo player once again, unless he can get Zeus back up. But when you try to hide from the lines of sight of one team, you're likely revealing yourselves to another, as the members of Wildcard are starting to feel. HQA flushes out Zeus, now just Rain.
I'm honestly surprised they didn't try to blow up the vehicle sooner and potentially go for the AoE damage on that one. Rain will be the last member surviving, but he has got 9 kills to his name. He's been putting in the work this map. Yefe goes for the rotation, gets spotted out, survives with a sliver of HP. Michael, not the same. IGN dominating from this high ground position, in particularly Marvis being the one to do the work. Now we still have IGN in control. 3, 2, 1. Grenades are coming in, but Queep gets knocked down by Rain. As he's going to be throwing the grenades over. Marvis going to do more to HQA. Spray comes in as well. The grenades on top of them. Maybe able to find the knock here, but unable to succeed. They puts him on the back foot. Rain has the angle onto Yethan. He's not going to be able to get him. But he's keeping him in line behind that tree. It might expose them to IGN's own angle.
What an exciting battle that's taking place here in the final game of the day. The final circle is popped. Phase number 8 shows these players where they have to reposition to avoid that fatal blue zone damage. And will Wildcard Rain? He's got a long way to go. It might not be a long way, but it's going to certainly feel that way with how many teams are looking down on this rock that has been his saving grace for the last 2 minutes.
Stims are being popped. Rain's end is finally over. Zephan managed to find the angle, get the headshot. 3v2. IGN have the high ground, but they're going to have to move closer to HQA. They're snaking down while they do that. Grenades have been tossed out by HQA, and the smokes are coming out to obscure vision to get IGN into this final circle.
IGN, Ignite Gold, they've got to play this perfectly. It's their game to lose. They have to make sure that they secure the trades should they end up finding one of their members getting knocked. But Zephan, he's got the crate to utilize for cover. This is insanely huge because a lot of teams don't get this opportunity. Shot's going to be coming out. Zephan crawling right next to where one of the members of Ignite Gold is currently posturing, and he's going to be spotting him very soon, maybe even hearing the crawling coming his direction. And Wasan going to be looking down to his north, trying to spot out Yefe inside of the smoke. Where there's smoke, there's likely going to be a player, but does he know that Zephan is just a few meters down to his north?
Too much of the blue zone, and Yefe's going to spray him down with the Uzi. You've still got Marvis and Queep in here as well. No one's exposing themselves, but he's staying on top of Zephan, feeding that information to Ignite Gold, just so they can know Zephan's finally going to take him out. 2v2.
A misplay. The pressure is going to be on. The zoning pressure comes out as well. They could flank around. HQA could dominate this circle should they play off of it, but they're going to continue to hold down in the prone position, waiting for one of the heads, either Marvis or Creepes, to show themselves. But Marvis is going to be spraying as well, just hoping that it connects onto one of the members of HQA.
The circle's moving in. This is the ultimate circle that will slowly converge as Zephan. They're all of them being forced closer. But here's Creep. He's going to pull the trigger. Spaces has exposed himself. Goes over the top. Going to be sprayed down. They know it's a 2v1. They just need to go and hunt Marvis now, who's holding the angle in prone. Yefe's eyeing up the general direction. Zephan will get the flush on the keep, securing that it will be a guaranteed 2v1. The blue started to affect Zephan. He needs to get into the area. This could be a huge misplay for XQA. He goes down to the play zone. It's now a 1v1. And the blue zone is giving the assist over to IGN. The spray's coming in for Yefan. It's not entirely accurate. Marvis now has the information of where he is. Going to spray on the spot. He finds it and clutches it out for HQA.
What a battle. HQA coming up with a huge chicken dinner to end out day number 2 of the semifinals. Trid, look at that. That's going to be 16 kills as well as the first place placement points.
16 kills is matching the all-time kill record for a team on Erangel, which is held by Tempo.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, that's a great performance for them. But also a great performance for Ignite Gold. I mean, we have not seen them in the top 3 for the entirety of this tournament, but boy, did they show up and say, if you forgot about us, don't worry, we are here, and we're here to play.
It was so close to getting that first place finish. I like the initiative there to take the aggressive play and be proactive with it, but you do expose yourself. It's kind of like a little bit of a stalemate here, and it could have been a little bit more one-sided as Ethan didn't go down to the blue zone after winning that engagement quite handedly.
Yeah, I mean, if anyone has ever played PUBG Mobile, you know when you're in those final few moments, your heart's pumping, the adrenaline is going, and the pressure was on, and well, these teams kind of felt that we saw a few misplays from both teams. Both of those squads made some pretty impactful mistakes that could have thrown it in the favor of one another, but ultimately, well, it's HQA that comes out with the W, and you have to continue to give them credit for it because they did it in such a stellar fashion.
Let's have a look at some stats or some standings, and Lations Unidos, after a game play, they're going to be there in that 24th place, actually, right at the bottom with 4 games played. So, see a lot of these teams down there. So, unsurprisingly, teams with 8 games played, so Group A, are going to be down there at the bottom. Let's go further up and see what's going on up the leaderboard. For Hokage climbs into 15th place. They have got double the amount of games played with the rest of the teams occupying this area. Pittsburgh Knights finishing in 11th despite getting a map win earlier in the day. Or being close to it. I can't remember. Did they actually win a map? I believe they came close to it.
Very close. Very close.
But they're going to be able to hold down a position. But now let's have a look at the most important stuff. The top 8.
Yep, certainly Spacestation Gaming ending out the day in first position on the leaderboards. But again, as Trid has mentioned, you have to continue to look. Some teams have only played 4 games, half the amount of games. And well, Misfits are only shy from that first place position by about 43 or... What is this, Trid? 45 points? Is that 45 points?
Yeah,
that's 45
points. 45
that's
points.
45 points for these teams to rack up, considering 4 games separate these 2 teams between that. So Misfits, they're watching.
They have to be watching, and they're going to get prepared. But let's find out who's going to play on our final day of the week as we take a look at our schedule. Pittsburgh Knights did win out Miramar. I was correct in saying that they had won a map, but they got themselves 11th place so far. Not too bad. HQA getting on there is pretty cool. Tomorrow, we are going to see groups B and C go at it. Sandhawk jumps back into the rotation along with Vikendi, and of course Erangel is there as always. All that action is going to start at 8 PM PST. For myself and Esquire, that's all we've got for you tonight, but I hope you join us tomorrow night where we conclude week 1 of our semi-finals.